Yeah, we prayed and just, Lord, help us, give us what we need.
Yeah.
Get us back to camp.
And it was what?
5, 10 minutes?
I was about to say 10 minutes. We had one little cloud come right above us, and it started downpouring.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back to the Hunt Experience.
That's right.
So, you got a story for me?
You want to hear it?
I've kind of heard it, but it's nice to get it out in the public.
Well, I don't know if I want to put it in the public. So I'm going to start with the good story first.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really a good story, but it's a story. Okay. So me and Lexi been chasing some pretty good deer.
Yeah.
And she's had a rough go, dude. She's been 8 or 9 times. And that's, for a girl, 19-year-old girl, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And this day and time, it's been hot, and we've been sitting there burning up and all that.
But the one time she needed to go.
Well, that's a whole other story.
Right, never mind.
Yeah, we'll get to that. It's coming. So we set up for an evening hunt right at this cold front.
Yeah.
Cold fronts are great, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody agrees with me.
Amen.
Yeah, cold front. So anyway, we're in the stand. We see this buck coming. It's a little, probably 8 or 9, just small, 12, 13 inch 8. Hops the fence, comes to us. It's like, all right, we got a buck coming in, and this is like 45 minutes before dark. Well, behind him is a little bigger fella.
Yeah.
I had got a picture of him, just a kind of a poor picture of him.
Yeah. Well, you showed
I
that
sent
picture
it to you.
You showed me that on the last podcast.
And he hopped out there, dude. And at first I told her it's the 10. It's the 10.
Yeah.
And then I got to look and I zoomed in with the camera. I was like, this ain't the 10. This is that 11.
Yeah.
So they're coming.
You had just got pictures of
Yeah, he just
4
showed up.
days before?
2 days before.
2 days before.
Yeah. He just showed up and they're coming. Dude, the wind had totally died. We got in on the northeast, which is perfect for us for that setup. And here he's coming. I was like, oh man. And of course, I said, big buck. And I immediately hear, I'm like, yeah. I said, calm down.
That's how you know it's a good buck.
Calm down. I said, they're coming. There's no reason for them not to come.
Yeah.
Well, you've been to that stand out there. We got 2 windows in it.
Yep.
I had her window open because we had nothing, like no wind whatsoever. Well, here they come. And they're closing the distance, 100 yards. Now they get to about 80 yards. And that front buck, the little 8, he stops all of a sudden. And he throws that head up. The dreaded head raised sniff to the air. And I'm like, what is going on? There's no way, And he stops. And of course, big dog's behind him and he stops. Well, dude, they kind of like, something's wrong. They could tell something was wrong, and I'm like, oh my gosh, no way. They can't smell us. There's no way.
Yeah.
And they both drop their head, and this is afterwards, and start feeding in the food plot. Because they were in the food plot at the time. And they kind of hem-haw around there, and they're wanting to come, but it was like they take a few steps, and then they turn sideways. And they take a few steps, and they turn sideways. Gosh dang, man, what is going on? Well, then, this was probably over a 2-minute time period. It seemed a lot longer than that.
Sure.
They spin, the big boy spins, and he leaves. And I hear, she's holding back tears, dude. This dude,
I would be too.
This dude, I sent you the.
No, so the game camera picture does not do the deer justice when you see it on video at all.
Yeah,
at all.
Yeah, I'll have to show you guys too.
Yeah.
It's one of those around here, that's going to touch 50, and it's like we don't get many of them.
So what do you think? Do you think it was like northeast wind blowing in and washing back out like a wave or something?
I think it was thermals, dude. What else could it have been? I have a ridge behind me.
Yeah, you do.
And no wind, dude. I just think the temperatures are severely dropped. I think them thermals just washed down there to them. As long as I can figure, man. Because I think if I'd have had the window shut, they were coming. I mean, there's a planted road. You know where it's at.
Yeah,
they were coming right up it.
How far was he when he turned?
He was probably 100 at that time. And I'm just like, and there's no wind. I mean, nothing. Silence. And it was just like, when that first one threw his head up, I'm just like, that's not good. That's not good at all. And then they just stared up there at us, like, that smell came from that area.
What you all doing?
And I'm just like, just stay calm. And then so he leaves.
Don't stay calm. Make a 100-yard shot. Let's get it done.
Aim up. That crossbow's pretty good, but
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't let her do that. So anyway, that was it was cool to see the deer.
Sure.
But it just heartbreaker.
Especially that early. I mean, that was like, what?
45 minutes before dark.
45 minutes
Oh,
now
yeah.
before daylight.
It's like,
That's
oh, gosh.
insane.
Yeah, and so
For a 4.5-year-old, 11, that's
yeah,
stud.
yeah. And he rolled out, and he left. And so I said, all right, Lex, the cold front's here. We're going to be in the 30s tonight for the first time this year. I'm going in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I want to go. I said, okay, great. 6 o'clock. We're going to get in there well before daylight. I said, it's on you.
Yeah.
I'm not, you're not 12 anymore.
Yeah.
You want to get up, get up. I get up, get dressed. Her room's dark. Okay,
He gone.
So I slip in the stable, and I don't even usually hunt in there, but it's like,
Yeah.
and so I'm sitting there, and I got in there almost an hour before daylight. I mean, it's 6 o'clock. I got in there, and it's pitch. Anyway, about 6:45, I can see a shadowy figure coming up the same road that the other bucks were on. And sure enough, it gets up there. Well, I can't tell. It's too dark,
Yeah.
And my cell camera goes off, and so I have to shade the light.
Been there.
Look,
I've been there.
and it's a 8 or 9 point, just a small guy.
Yeah.
And so he hangs out for a while and then he leaves. And so I'm sitting there and it's 7 o'clock and I looked it up. It was 6:52 was legal.
Yeah.
Okay, 7 o'clock. And I look up and out steps the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, So, heart starts pumping, but it's like we've been here before. We know what to do. Let's get this done. Turn the camera.
You don't cuss at yourself like I do.
I don't cuss, but I do talk to myself.
Yeah.
Yes, I definitely talk to myself.
Yeah.
So I reach over, turn the camera on. I didn't check to make sure it was in frame, but I had set the camera up ahead of time.
Yeah.
Reach down, grab my bow, put my release on. He's right here, broadside 25, and I just brought my bow up real slow. I drew, and I told myself, don't bury it, just touch, just lay it in there.
Yeah.
I laid it in there, dude, and I had a little bit of trouble. I shoot a single pin slider.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of trouble seeing my pin, and I thought, I made it out. And dude, I just slowly went down and man, he mule kicked, busted through some thick stuff, and I'm thinking, I'm fixing to watch this dude go down, And he goes down, hits my food plot down there, and he slows up. Oh my gosh, he's gonna go down. And then he just like 90 to nothing and jumped the fence
Not good.
in like 3 bounds, like mega fast. And I was like, what the heck? I felt pretty good about the shot, Well, fast forward on the story a little bit. I wait for a little while. I go to where I shot him. No blood. What the heck? No arrow. Oh my gosh, what's going on?
It went somewhere.
Yeah, it's like, what's going on? So I've got a dentist appointment that I have to be at in like
I remember getting that text.
45 minutes. So I go down to where I see him go into the food plot. Blood. But it's only like dime size.
Yeah.
And it's dark red. Mm-hmm. So it's not good. And so I follow a little bit more drops of blood. It's not, it's sparse at best.
Right.
And where he turned and crossed the fence is where I stopped because I'm like, okay, there's no way I'm going to get to the dentist and da 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 da. So I backed out because at that point I'm thinking, well, the shot's not good. How? Well, you got it. The shot.
Jump a fence or climb a hill. You're like,
Yeah. So the shot's got to be bad. I'm thinking, what in the world happened? So anyway, go to the dentist. It was the longest dentist appointment of my life. I come back and, get ready. I go right back out to where I stopped at. Went to the spot where he crossed the fence. I'm thinking, there'll be a bunch of blood where he landed. There was blood, but not a lot.
Yeah.
Dude, I blood trailed him for an hour and a half to 2 hours. Drop 4 or 5 feet. Drop. And then one spot he kind of stopped, had blood out both sides.
Okay.
And I'm like,
I didn't know
okay, all right, well, I get blood out both sides, but it was still just dime-sized drops. That's really all it was. Well, I get up to the top of the ridge. It took me a long time to get there because I would lose the blood, then find it, lose the blood, then find it, go back to where I go. You know how it is.
Oh yeah.
I get to the top and he had stopped and stood, and there was an area, basketball size area, both sides, where it just dripped. It wasn't like
Oh yeah,
running.
sure.
And right before that area, I found the arrow. And the arrow was blood soaked halfway.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. That's really odd.
The whole broadhead side, all the way up half, was nothing. And then the bottom
I wonder
of
if he was like carrying that, sticking out one side and
Had to.
watching it off as he was running. That's the only thing I can think of.
I don't know. I don't really have an explanation for that. So I immediately like, okay, I'm bringing in the dog. We're getting a dog in here. Because, I mean, this is a 140s plus, probably.
Sure.
Yeah, he's
Oh, yeah.
He's a wop. And so Joe shows up with his dog, and I took him right to the spot, and he took off hot in the same direction and then just lost it. Because, you know, it's like powder.
Oh yeah,
Dry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at that point, it had been 4 or 5 hours. You know, since I'd done it, all the blood was dried. So, needless to say, long story short, I did not find a deer, which is the worst thing that can happen to a bow hunter if you bow hunt it.
I've done it twice.
Yeah, and it sucks to high heaven, and I hate it. And it was like I wanted Lexi to kill that deer, and she didn't go, so I was going to teach her a lesson, and that all backfired on me.
So you had to do this.
So I will say, we've been in deer.
Yeah.
We've been.
No, it's
you know, yeah.
really good and
Yeah.
early.
We've been in deer. We've been on 2 deer that were real close, and
Yeah.
I should have just 25 yards.
Yeah.
This buck's broadside at 25 yards.
Really, when you text me, I was like, surely you got at least got one lung, even if your angle was
Well-
like, because I've shot a couple of chavvy that way, and it's like one longer is over
Yeah.
like 400 yards before you can find them.
Yeah, yeah.
They'll
Well,
eventually drown.
and Jody was like, "Dude, go out and shoot your bow. Maybe he rose off." You know, and I just like stepped out on the back porch and 25 yards and like center dotted it. I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay," but it wasn't the bow, and it wasn't panic or nerves.
Sure.
I've had that happen. I missed.
If you don't have that, you don't need to be hunting, but you got to be able to put it in check when
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
release, right?
So it was just, I really didn't have an explanation for it other than it was a little bit dark,
Yeah.
and maybe I wasn't aiming where I thought I was aiming.
You know, they could jump the stream.
He did drop.
Yeah.
So, and that's the other part of it. So I've checked the footage, you know, because that's the first thing you do is check the footage. Well, the night before, me and Lexi had them bucks come in late.
Yeah.
I had more deer come in right at dark, and I switched to low light mode.
Yeah.
And if you film in the day on low light mode, guess what? You don't see all the frames. It's like
It's not great.
every 5th frame shows up.
Yeah.
So anyway, all I got is him standing there, him dropping. You don't see any impact. So I really don't know for sure what happened.
Yeah.
Why didn't, got lots of questions like, why didn't I get a pass through? First of all,
Yeah.
25 yards, I'm shooting that Matthew smoking. It's fast.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah, 3+. Huh?
okay, here's another little caveat for you for the experts out there, because this has happened to me twice.
Yeah.
Okay, it was low light enough that when I shot the deer, I had a spark.
Well, I told you, Luke
Spark. Boom.
shot many that way early morning, and
Yeah.
hit a rib, and those blades was
I had to have centered a rib,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's what I'm thinking. Okay, I centered a rib. That's why I didn't get a full
I
pass
saw it
through.
multiple times when Luke was hunting.
All of the deer, all the deer I've killed on bow over the years, just I blow through them.
Yeah.
And but this dude sparked. I mean, it's like, and I'm shooting the Rage hypodermic.
That's what you.
Yeah, and so anyway, that's my sob story. Honestly, I'm looking for buzzards, but I hope he lives.
Yeah,
I
for
hope,
sure.
I hope it was no man's land and I did not get a lung.
Yeah.
There was no bubbles in the blood whatsoever.
Yeah.
So it's like a superficial wound. Let's just hope it is.
Sounds to me like he probably jumped the string. You shot high, would be my guess.
I will
So,
say he was alert.
Yeah.
I will say that, and you're supposed to aim a little lower.
Yeah.
And that I did not do that.
Yeah.
I did not do that. But
In the heat of the moment, it's up to process all
Well,
this stuff, for sure.
I'm trying to get the camera on. I got lots of excuses. You want to hear them all? I got lots of them.
Don't we all? I think we've all used them before.
Yeah. Well, and so on a bright note, me and Chris got to hunt together last night.
Yeah.
First time since last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Climb property.
that was fun, man.
Chasing the giant. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was
We
fun.
got to see some deer.
Yeah, had them all under us.
Yeah. Got see
Talking to
some-
us.
Yeah, talking underneath us. Got to see some fawns milking out my
That was
feed
cool.
spot, which the way this thing lays out, it's like super, super thick. So he's hunting the backside of the tree for me, and all I see is like feet coming through this dark, thick tunnel of like honeysuckle, and I'm tapping the tree like
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm behind it.
No, it's a doe and a fawn. Big boy didn't show up, but it was a good time. And we waited on this property until it was time to go, and
Yeah.
last night was time to go.
Yeah,
And
it
he
was-
just didn't show up.
Yeah, it was the time to be in there.
Yeah.
And that's another good deer that
Oh,
we know
yeah.
was close.
100%.
We were talking about it on the way out. It's like, he's right here.
I
This
guarantee.
sucker is right here.
Yeah, I know he's 10 yards away.
And it's like, man, but yeah, it didn't work out. But that was a fun hunt. So we
Yeah,
got
yeah, for sure.
I've been wanting to do that
Yeah.
since we talked
We need
about
to do
it.
it more often. We gotta,
Yeah.
we
No,
gotta
it's
make that-
fun.
We gotta make that happen.
It's fun.
All right, so we're done with the sad stories, the soft stories. Now we're on to a great story.
Yeah.
Got a special show today. We got the two T brothers in here, Tyler and Trevor,
Ah,
with some great elk hunting stories. So I'm gonna get this going. Guys, welcome to the show.
It's good to be here.
Great.
First of all, let's get started with a little bit of history. Tyler, how'd you get into hunting?
Really?
Maybe the same story. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll let him go first.
yeah. Mine's a little different because I think I got into hunting mostly because of my brother.
Okay.
He's kind of taught me everything to do there is to bow hunting.
Sure.
And got me loving it and
Yeah.
breathing every bit of it. But I hunted with my dad when I was young. Never really got into it really well until high school era, and we was chasing those chaffy bucks.
Oh, yeah.
He got me started on that.
I was the same.
I think
I was late starter.
yeah,
I was
the
real,
second
real hunting anyway.
the second time I think I ever was in a tree stand with him, I told you that story earlier. I missed a booner at 25 yards. So he got me hooked.
I thought we were done with the sad story.
He walked out of the woods, his head down, just.
Yeah.
Yep. Been there, done that, buddy.
But we've done a lot of hunting together. And I enjoy it.
I've heard most of the stories. So you and I met through employment at the shop, right?
Yep.
I think that's the first time I met you, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think when I started there, I started working there, and I worked there for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But we came close, and
Yeah.
So
Well, I was telling Cody, we've had several conversations, and even here and recently, it's like, dude, so proud of you, man. The
Yeah.
father you are, the dad you are, the work ethic you have, and everything else. So it's like to see you come from, I don't know how long we've known each other. It's been a few years, but it's like, it's not like one of my kids, but to see you, not calling you a kid, but it's like see you grow up and become who you are, the hunter you are, the man you are, the dad you are, so on and so forth. So it's pretty impressive, man. The work ethic and everything else that you do.
I get that a lot from y'all.
Yeah.
You and Joe, man.
Yeah.
I give it to y'all. I got a attention to detail with vehicles.
Yeah, for sure.
Y'all caused all that.
that all rolls over into life and hunting and
Sure
everything
does.
else. And then,
Absolutely.
and so we actually took a trip to Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
We were all up there at the same time. And I think, did y'all kill that trip? I can't remember.
No,
Yeah.
I missed the 150.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew
And
there
that's
was-
another sad
So we
story.
were in the whole janky hotel situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cody's the one that got us started up there.
Yeah.
And then me and Joe started going. I think y'all came that one
year,
with us. Yeah.
Those
so-
were fun, man.
I think that might have been the first time I ever met Trevor.
It
Was
was.
during that whole cycle.
Yep.
During that whole deal.
Yeah, because I was like, man, if we're going to Missouri, my brother has got to go. Like,
Yeah.
This is going to be a trip
Well-
he needs to be on.
Yeah, definitely.
It's funny because Tyler's like, hey, my bosses are going to Missouri in a week or two. I'm like, well, I got a couple of days vacation. Let's go. I was like, I can leave on a Thursday. I'll scout 2 days and I'll have us both a spot ready when you
Yeah.
get up there. And sure enough, but
Yeah, that's right. You actually missed one up there. So
Yeah.
we've all got Missouri stories. That's a whole other show
Yeah.
right there about
Easy peasy there.
Missouri
yeah.
bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a couple stories with them.
I try to forget those.
180 inch deer that couldn't get a shot at. But so you guys basically drew some impossible tags,
impossible. Like once in a lifetime.
once in a lifetime tags to go on an elk hunt, which this is something that we've been talking about recently
Yeah.
on one of our bucket list
Sure.
hunts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
So
So where did y'all draw? Where did you hunt? I don't
Yeah.
even know.
New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay.
so what was the process of
Yeah.
drawing all that stuff? Was
How'd that go down?
I'll let Trevor explain that because he's the whiz of that.
So
Drawing situations.
Yeah, don't tell us your secrets. We just want to know.
don't get it.
Hey, I wish there was secrets.
This
Yeah.
guy's the
We'll
secret.
do that off camera.
Yeah. No, the good Lord blessed us on that one because New Mexico's 100% chance state. Like you can't build preference points.
Ah.
You can't do anything to up your odds to get it. So we putting in for New Mexico had just as good a chance as the guy that's been putting in for 30 years
I see.
for this unit. So I was like, well, we have some mule deer tags and or points, enough to get into Colorado. That was our game plan going into this Western hunting season. And
Year
was like,
3.
yeah, year 3.
Western.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, we'll put in for Colorado. We'll get our mule deer tags. But I was like, we might as well put in for New Mexico. If we get it, we get it. We'll go to New Mexico because I think Colorado is one of the few states that you can actually return your tags. So that was kind of our go-to plan. But if we drew New Mexico, it was going to be awesome. So I was like, well, if we're going to put in for New Mexico, let's just put in for the 3 best units in the whole state. And hopefully we get one. If we don't, we're killing mule deer in Colorado. It's not a big deal.
And what was the percent odds?
We had a 1.2% chance of getting any of the tags.
What was
my
it?
gosh.
Success
Yeah.
rates.
That's pretty good. That's like winning the lottery.
It really,
Oh, yeah.
literally, yeah.
That's awesome.
A lot of people that we met up there, it was, there was a few hunters that were actually guides there, and they're like, yeah, it's taken me, 18 years to draw this tag, and I live here.
And they live there, yeah.
So
You can't even draw.
to see
you can't
3
draw
out-of-staters,
a landowner tag.
first ever elk hunt, it was,
Yeah.
I'll never forget when I
It's,
was the one that found out about, we drew the tag, and I'm driving down the road, and
I think I'm turkey hunting on a turkey.
he's on a turkey, and he had some issues with that, Arkansas birds, like
Oh,
always,
yeah.
and
Yeah, you
that's a
heard-
whole nother
if you
story.
heard one, you did pretty good in Arkansas.
Hey,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I was driving down the road and checked my email, and I'm like, I seen it pop on my email. I was like, I didn't really know what it was, not really thinking, and I about deleted it.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I was like, oh, that's New Mexico. And it said, congratulations, y'all have been drawn for the 2024 elk hunt. And I'm like, I about wrecked the truck. I mean, I locked the truck up. I'm like, because this is, we knew that if we drew this tag, it was, this is a once in a lifetime hunt.
Sure.
Like, no matter where else we draw, if one of us would have drew that tag, we're all going.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because it's a team effort. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got to have, boys in
Oh,
in
yeah.
your back to
I can
100%, be there for you. But yeah, I called him, and I think he started yelling. He was actually on a turkey, I believe, and he was like, "I don't even care about these turkeys right now. I'm over them."
My turkey hunting season quit right then, and I just started focusing on
Started
elk.
preparing?
Yeah,
Priority.
I switched calls. I went from turkey calls to elk calls.
Priority switch in a hurry, huh?
Yeah,
Workouts began.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other thing, right?
Oh
Prepping,
gosh.
prepping for that trip.
Oh.
And all the hiking and backpacking and rucking and everything else y'all did.
Yeah, we did a lot of it. We were, well, I've noticed like going out west, you lose so much weight when you're up there because you're just working and you're not taking in the calories you need because you're just
Oh, yeah,
constantly working. You got
Yeah.
weight on your back going up the steepest mountains imaginable. And so this year I'm like, I'm putting weight on before I go. Like I have to because like day 10, you're just so, you look like a
That's what I'm
deer.
doing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing for deer.
You look like a big.
Getting in shape, bro.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, that was my goal this year was to just put on weight, and it was hard. It's hard. I've never gained weight in my life. So I worked out. I ate good. I was eating like 5,000 to 7,000 calories a day, just trying to
Yeah.
It was
build.
stupid.
I mean, it was
Food.
dumb, and it hurt. And summertime killed me. But
I was the opposite.
he was the opposite. He
Yeah.
was.
I was
he was
cutting weight.
Cutting weight.
Yeah.
Thinner down a notch.
Yeah, I got down to, talking about weight, just losing weight up there. I think I lost right at 18 pounds.
I remember you telling me that.
And it's not
Nice.
like we're not eating stuff with high protein, high calories. I mean, we're eating 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day. It's just
Yeah.
you're doing so much,
You're-
it's just
yeah.
blowing it right out.
You're
Like it does
burning-
nothing for you.
Yeah, you're
It's just
burning
keeping you alive, really.
Yeah.
Go back to the prep side of it. So y'all
Yeah.
were rucking and hiking and shooting and
Yep.
all that stuff. How long before y'all actually went on this trip did this begin? As soon as you found out, as soon as you got the email, basically.
No. Well, for some of us.
So, yeah, for me, he was
I started in
February
February.
because we were going on an out west trip.
Okay.
Anyways, but he started working out, and I was working so much. I was like, well, I'm gonna start working out, of course. But
Yeah.
we hit it pretty hard. But no, we just did a lot of cardio. I mean,
Yeah.
we ran through the week 2 or 3 times a week. He'd do ab workouts, shoulder workouts,
Oh, yeah.
stuff like that. But we would also start packing with weight on our back. You know,
What,
we was,
1st of July-ish?
yeah, we was starting to put weight on our back, and we was kind of
104 degrees.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really not
Arkansas
that,
weather.
not that hot, you know?
Good time right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we kind of stopped the running when we was getting close. About a month out, we was packing
Twice
you
a
know, we was-
week.
Yeah, it was
About 4 miles a trip. Two to 4 miles a trip.
and it's it's hard. It's you've got to keep the mentality and the
Sure.
thought in your head that
Yeah.
if you don't do this and you get on that mountain and you ain't ready,
Yeah.
it'll let you know.
Well, especially if you're dealing with altitude too, right?
Yes.
So that's
So-
a big deal.
Yeah.
It is a big deal. So your muscles are starving for oxygen the whole
Yeah.
time you're out there. So it's really cool. Arkansas is a really a good place to train because it's 104 degrees, 105
Yeah.
degrees. So your body's trying to keep itself cool. So it's just pumping blood down to like the cardiovascular level, like the
Right.
little bitty blood vessels. So in all honesty, it's really probably the best place to train.
I told the boy that before he went. He was starting to get ready for his, Navy experience, and he would take one of my backpacks to go up on the lease up on the mountain and put a 35 or a 45-pound weight in it. I was like, take the AR, put this backpack on your back, go see if you can kill a pig while you're out there doing it. He did that for a long time, like getting ready for what he was going through.
You gotta want it, man.
And he'd come back blasted.
Oh
Be
yeah.
gone 3 hours.
So what was the altitude? You guys know?
Anywhere from 8,500 to 10,500.
It wasn't as bad as our mule deer hunt the year before, and he's actually got altitude sickness. I haven't,
Really?
been fortunate enough not to have it, and I was actually more worried about it. Last year was my first year to ever go out west to Wyoming.
Yeah.
And we was hitting some places at almost 11,000 feet, and
Yeah.
it was I was to the point to where I thought I was going to carry him off the mountain. Like I literally thought, because he couldn't even pack his bag that
Thanks for
morning.
putting on weight, bro.
Yeah. Well, my nickname.
Bulked up.
My nickname's the Mule.
Yeah.
That's what they call me, is the Mule. So,
I've seen that in action before.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, he's got some legs on him, boy.
yeah.
Got some
Places
legs.
like Tyler wants to get this. You got to let him go, man.
Yeah. Yep.
We took a vacation to Colorado and got into hiking trails,
Mm-hmm.
and we went to 12.5, dude. And we took canned oxygen because
Oh yeah.
you talking about some lungs burning. So I can imagine you guys had especially hauling heavies.
Yeah, we was
Yeah.
probably 60. I think probably 60 pounds in our packs when we went up on that trip. Deep Lakes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we were 65 probably,
Yeah.
70 pounds.
Mm-hmm. I can
And
appreciate it.
The year before, we were really dumb and we were being really cheap. We just wanted to get out there. So we got like just the cheap gear, not nothing light. We're like 80, 85 pounds
Oh, jeez.
going in and we're like, we can't do this
Ever
again.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lesson learned.
Yeah.
You're putting
Yeah.
that kind of miles every day. Every ounce counts.
Yes.
That's why I kind of crack
They
up.
say-
Not knocking that saddle hunters around here. They're like, we got to go in light, man, and be mobile. I'm like, you're walking in 300 yards, bro. Relax. Just take
Yeah.
a stand with you. Like, it's not that big a deal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're worried about like I can't even take my sticks in. I'm gonna use this rope because the
Mhm.
sticks are too heavy. I'm like, where are you going, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. So once you guys got up there, was it everything you thought it was going to be? I mean, was it were you immediately in animals, or did you have to?
So we left. We took a scouting trip at the end of August.
Yeah, y'all flew out.
We flew out, yeah. We only had like 4 days between that we could fit in and go. So we took like 2 days off and then had a 2-day weekend. And I think it was Labor Day weekend.
Mhm.
So we go out there and we're driving around. We're like, well, let's bail into this spot, see if we can find some sign. We found some sign. And we're like, well, there's elk here. We don't want to just stay here. We don't really know what to expect or how many animals are going to be in the area. So we're like, well, let's get out of here. We'll go check another spot and we'll set up camp. And we'll just camp there the night and listen in this basin. And we get out there and it's just wide open. It doesn't look like elk country at all. You look at, you're thinking Colorado and
Yeah.
Wyoming, just real pretty aspens. There's
Mhm.
nothing out there. And we're like, walking through this, you're thinking, there's no elk here.
We're in
There's
trouble.
no way
Yeah.
there's elk
What
here.
did you do?
And so we get out on this point, and my brother sits down and he goes, there's a herd of 50 elk. We're like, sweet,
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
In the chips.
In the chips right off the bat. And it seemed like it didn't matter where we went after that. Once we realized what kind of habitat they wanted to be in, it was game over.
You had it figured out.
So how'd you find? So you're talking about which unit you want to be in. So I've done that before, like with deer hunting and so on and so forth. And you go by like where were the most deer killed, but when you follow that, that's where the most people are too. So how did you come to the point where this is where we want to be?
Okay, so have you ever used Go Hunt?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Out of it.
so there's a filtering system on there, and it tells you you can put in like bulls per cow,
Okay. Yeah.
or bulls per like 100 cows and success rates, and they just go through this whole list of
So it filters it.
it.
for you.
Yeah, you can
Oh, yeah.
you just put in everything
Nice.
you want in a unit, and then it gives you if there's even anything possible for that.
That's good
What,
too,
what's there?
Because I've done that before. Like, you go through Missouri, like, what's the kills per county? We want to be in X amount of county, and you roll up there, and there's like 3,000 dudes from
Yeah.
Wisconsin and Michigan.
Yeah.
Well, Bethany is a perfect deal, eagle build in that situation. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you go during youth season or whatever, and it's like there's thousands and thousands. Like, you roll up, and some dude's in like a Pontiac Grand Prix. It's like, I gotta stand over here, stand over here, stand over here.
Mhm.
Okay, can I hunt anywhere?
Yeah.
You get the whole thing mapped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I think on Go Hunt it's mainly any of the draw states.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if Kansas is part of that, but
That's
it's the Western game, like elk, mule deer. I guess the group of guys that does it lives out there.
So
Oh,
it's
gotcha,
obviously
gotcha.
legit. I mean,
It's
we're
legit.
It's-
yeah.
It's
Well,
legit.
New Mexico is you know, we knew there wasn't going to be a lot of hunters because they do not give a lot of tags out.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a big bonus if you're
Yeah.
one.
oh, it's
We were 3 of 8 non-resident tags for that unit in
Wow.
that season.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So I think there were a total of like 80 tags in the whole unit.
you know 200,000 acres
That's
Yeah.
a big
of land.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's
Of
That's
this,
pretty good. 100,
Yeah.
100
Everywhere.
elk ratio then.
yeah, 60,
It's-
66 bulls to 100 cows.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that
yeah.
right?
So it was.
See, I always wanted to go, but I always wanted to like, man, I want to go during like a gun hunt because, first time hiking mountains and all that stuff. But everything I've heard about is like, don't go during the gun. You got to get during the, during the bow season. That's when you're gonna hear everything and see everything.
Yes.
second archery is usually, from what we've understood, the best time to
Really?
go as far as bugling and starting
And
a
y'all were there
rut.
first.
No,
We
we
were
were
the
there
second.
second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
We
we
were
got
second.
prime time. I think the only other thing would be like muzzleloading, which is right around the 1st of October.
Yeah.
And they say the rut is really in full swing in the 1st of October in New Mexico. But the farther north you go, the earlier it
That
starts.
makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of like here.
Yeah.
So is it
exactly.
like turkey hunting them?
Oh, dude, way
That's-
better.
Well, obviously.
It's-
obviously.
you know, we
1,000 pounds.
we talked about, like how, what's our approach on this? And Trevor's like, well, we're gonna hunt them like we do turkeys. That's,
Yeah.
that's how
That's
that's
what
how we
I've
had
always
to do
heard.
it.
Yeah.
It's-
Hey,
He's ass.
I was telling the boys, like, if we can kill an Arkansas turkey,
Yeah.
we can kill an elk.
I agree.
Promise.
Yeah, well, we talked about that when you come to the shop that day. It's like we
Mhm.
roll up to Kansas with a bunch of my redneck guys that work for me, and we're killing birds left and right, and people,
Yeah.
locals are like, they're mad.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
dude, this is easy compared to what we're used to. Like, we're killing 2 birds a piece, but
Mhm.
and everybody's getting ticked off in the parking lots, and we come rolling out with birds. So
Well, that's like everybody.
kind of
we-
relays to the elk too, apparently. right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody we talked to, like the night before we were getting ready to go, we had that guy that killed one, and he pretty much just said, "Yeah, y'all ain't gonna kill nothing. Y'all are first year like out of staters. Y'all ain't doing nothing. Like
Have a
good
nice
luck.
camping trip.
Like y'all might get on one, but yeah, no, y'all. The chances
Actually-
of y'all killing 3 bulls.
We talked to a handful of guys, and that's what they said every time. Like, why did y'all get 3 tags?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Y'all won't feel a tag.
Yeah.
We're rednecks,
Wow.
son. We're
no,
rednecks.
that's and that's
Y'all don't know where we're from.
Well, we weren't even bragging. We're kind of like,
yeah.
well, crap. Our morale went from this to this
Sure,
real quick.
yeah.
We're like, man, maybe we bit off more than we could chew on
Yeah.
this deal.
Well, it was just, that's another thing with, just about the elk hunt experience and, being with your brothers and family. You've got to have the right mindset.
Sure.
Yeah. We are all understanding that, we're going up that mountain no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, you're not taking me off that mountain.
Yeah.
Like,
Till
shape wise, mountain wise, the steepest mountains I've ever seen in my entire life. And when we went, he's like, I hope y'all boys are ready.
Yeah.
That's what he was saying. We was driving, along, looking up at it. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
You
it was
usually get
funny.
like a
I'm like,
hamstring trip.
it
was-
Camping the bar.
It was hilarious. We were rolling in to our unit. We were like probably 20 miles out, and we just see this giant mountain. And I'm like, it'd be hilarious if that's our mountain.
Yeah.
And Todd gets on Onyx, and he goes, "Dude, that's our mountain." We're like, "Oh no!"
It was quiet in the truck for about 10 minutes.
And everybody starts getting butterflies. Oh,
Yeah.
God, what I do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I realize what's fixing to happen here.
Yeah, and it's like, training before, I didn't train as much as my brother and Ryan did. And he was like, he was a little worried because, you got to all be ready. Like, you
Sure.
have one guy go down, that's not good. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got to have everybody at 100% ready to go to war.
Yeah.
And I told him, I'm like, listen, the mule, he'll be ready. Like,
Yeah.
you have to call a helicopter to get me off that mountain. I will die on that mountain before.
Or a mule to get the mule.
That's right. That's right. And we did get some.
Sometimes you talk about like, what's the old saying, like obsession equals success, right? If you're obsessed with something like that, like, I used to do that in Missouri all the time, get like way just jacked up, got killed deer. I'm here for 3 days, blah, 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 and it's like it was no fun at all. But it sounds like y'all had kind of the best of both worlds. Like you're here for a family, hanging out with each other, but
Well,
we're also going to put in 110% before we leave this place.
yeah. So we pray every day.
Sure.
We just give it to the Lord every day.
Yeah.
Like whatever your plan is, whatever your will is for today, we're gonna walk into that. No matter what it takes, we're gonna walk into that.
Sure.
So it was just he laid out the path and we just moved.
That's cool, man. That's the way to be.
Apparently, y'all live in rocks. We were talking the other day about all my chiggers I had, and it's like, man, I think God put chiggers on earth for the biggest sinners. Like, man, I must have been really messing up because I tore up, son.
Yeah, he asked me that question. He said, why did God put chiggers on the earth? And I said, maybe for sinners?
Hey, I got like 8 million bites. I'm starting to itch right now. Right?
Yeah. Get you some of that permethrin.
Yeah, well, I thought chigger season was over when I was
This is Arkansas.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into the story now that we've kind of prefaced everything. And
how the first
I
one?
kind of know the story, but I want to, I'm going to kind of let you guys go for a minute. We'll fill in where we need to be, but I kind of want to hear, you're driving up, you're at the mountain. Now what are we doing?
Okay, so we roll in on Thursday night.
Thursday night.
And we had a few hours to go just listen. So we were like, well, we already had a plan. Plan A was go here, but we were going to go look at plan B to see if there were people, first season people still there. And we go in there. Sure enough, there's 3 camps right where we were going to park. And we're like, golly, and there's horse trailers. And we're like, people are just bailing off in here. We talked to these couple guys and they had killed one. And they're like, yeah, we're going 12 miles deep on these mules. You'll never get back there.
Sweet.
Yeah, we're like, cool. Y'all are going all the elk out of here. That's great. He missed like 4.
Yeah.
Finally killed one. So we're like, okay, not going here,
Yeah.
And so we go back to our plan A and we're like, well, we'll just figure it out from here, and spend the night, pack up the mountain. And on the scouting trip, we had built a water hole. There's a spring, but it was pretty dry, but it was not enough to pull water out of.
Like you're saying, you put up rocks and stuff?
Yeah,
we built like a barrier.
Yeah,
okay.
we were beavers.
Yeah.
Built it down. Okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Well, so we're like, it's like a mile from camp, and the truck's like 3 miles from camp, 1,200 foot elevation gain. So we're like, if we can only walk a mile and get water, that'd be great. We get up there, and we come to our water hole, and there's an elk track in it, and it's bone dry. They one elk can smoke that thing, and we're like, great, So we get up, we set up camp, and we're like, well, we gotta go get water. So back down the mountain we go, 3 more miles, and run to the store, grab 10 gallons of water.
Yep.
Not thinking, bunch of idiots, fill up all our water packs. We have 6 gallons left.
Yeah.
So we walk up the mountain and get camp set up, and
So what's camp look like? We in tents? Is that what we're doing?
yeah, we're in a 6-person tent.
Okay, just one single tent.
One single tent.
Gotcha.
Dug out of a mountain.
Okay.
We spent about 3 hours digging out our sleep spots to get everything nice and level. Because when sleep is everything. You gotta be level.
The little sleep you get on those mountains.
Yeah. So-
what was it like temperature wise, y'all? Is it pretty warm up there?
Yeah, it
today?
was. Yeah.
90
So
degrees
we're
in
not,
the
we're
day.
not needing any heat or anything.
No.
No,
we
this
didn't.
trip.
Yeah, we didn't like that too
Yeah.
much. At least I didn't. I didn't like the heat.
I can't sleep in the heat either.
It was hot.
Yeah, it was hot, but it was a different heat, than obviously Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't as, bad as what it is here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It cooled off in the nights though. I think when we woke up most mornings it was in the high 40s.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
low
good weather.
50s.
That's good
Yeah.
stuff weather right
It
there.
was nice. It really was nice, but it took it till midnight to get there.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we were
yeah, gotcha.
sweating till midnight. But so we got one day before the hunt starts, and I almost forgot. We're walking up the mountain with water on our backs, and we hear a bull bugle. We're like, "Oh, he's right here close." And we were looking at this spot already as we we're walking up. We're like, "Dude, this is elky right here. There's a wall up there, just not quarter mile."
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, here comes like 4 cows and this bull. He's just chasing them. He's bugling. He's rutting. And then here comes this other bull. And he looks like a pig, dude. He got that waller. He's walking this mountain, and this bull's running this bull off. And it was crazy. And then all of a sudden, these bulls are bugling, and turkey's gone. And we're like,
And I'm videoing.
I got that video actually.
Yeah.
And it's funny, because I'm videoing, and he's in front of me, and I'm videoing, and you hear the bull bugle off, and then all, like all those.
I got one of those videos. That's kind of like everything you want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his he turned around and the face. Oh man, it was priceless. He had a grin ear to ear.
yeah, I'm like, boys, are you seeing this?
Yeah, trying to be quiet because we're trying to get to camp and it's getting dark and we're like
Yeah.
we're stuck. We
Yeah,
can't
turkeys
move.
are-
We've got bulls everywhere around us, cows everywhere, turkeys gobbling.
Yeah.
Like he's on that point.
Yeah.
So-
That's not bad intel if you're just trying to go get some water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it worked out great, which we'd have heard them regardless. But,
Sure.
So we finally skirt around these bulls, and it's actually dark by this
Mhm.
point. I'm like, guys, we got to go.
Yeah.
We're tired. So we get up to camp. So we put in about 10 miles that day.
Right at 10.
So the day before the trip, or before the season starts, we were like, well, we'll just all kind of branch out, go glass some basins.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we all seen bulls but Ryan.
Yep.
I don't think Ryan seen a bull that morning.
Yeah, he got turned around in there and didn't see anything.
Yep. So come back to camp, just relax the rest of the day, trying to drink a lot of water, trying to eat a lot of food. We're just kind of conserving energy, just resting.
We got to survive.
We packed enough for 5 days, I believe, or 6 days. We had 6 days of food when we went up the first time, correct? And we had 2 days of no season, so we was trying not to eat
Too much.
too much because
until the guy that's trying to put on weight gets into the
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I might have lied to you guys too, because I think it was the morning before you went north. Me and Ryan went south. I went and looked at that No Name Canyon, and we all prayed.
Yeah.
We all just went and done our thing. We prayed, talked to the Lord about it. Ryan did see a bull that morning. I seen a bull, and you seen a bull. I think the next night is when Ryan,
Mm-hmm.
or that same evening is when Ryan went and checked another one. Anyway. But
We had a gist of where the bulls were at. There was a canyon. We was kind of on top of it, and we knew there was a, I got on the back side of it and glassed into the canyon that we were kind of camped on, and we knew that there was bulls around. Like,
Yeah.
We had no
Obviously they're
expectations.
drinking your water.
yeah.
Yeah, and we didn't. It's we're we had a conversation before, like, hey, like, what's considered a shooter? Like, who's up to bat first? We wanted Ryan. This was his third year of going out west, and me and my brother decided that he was 100% going to shoot first.
Yeah.
Because he had never
killed.
That's cool.
He ate
That
tag
shows a
suit,
lot, shows a
for
lot about the character that you guys brought to the camp.
100%. And so we wanted him to shoot first, and we had a conversation about what's considered a shooter. What's going to be a pass if if you don't shoot, it's the next person guy. And I think we said just 5 points.
Yeah, 5 points on both sides.
We was going up there to if it's a raghorn, as they say, we're killing it. Like, we're
to me,
with
it's like,
bows,
you
it's
gotta
a
kind of make that judgment call when you see it, right? Hey,
Yeah.
if it gets your adrenaline flowing, that's a shooter for me.
oh,
For sure.
100%.
For sure. But we were wanting to be fair for everybody as far as, if a little bull comes in and you pass it, what is considered losing your turn?
Yeah.
So, like,
gotcha.
if a small 6 point
Oh,
comes
yeah,
in
I
and
see
you
what you're
pass it, like, we're not going to sit here and pass 10 bulls because we got 2 other guys with tags.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay. I got you.
so that was the whole reason for the 5-point rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like just kind of keep everybody to a standard.
Yeah.
Like shoot a good bull, but don't be passing
Yeah.
good bulls.
Have an understanding of who's up next. Like.
Yeah. So like if a 6-point would have walked in and Ryan would have passed it, it'd have been Tyler's turn.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It should have been my turn. Brian's.
We'll get
Yeah.
there.
We'll get there. But
Yeah. So we're resting at camp, and it's a beautiful day. We're sitting in the shade. It's like 70 degrees in the shade, 90 degrees in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And bulls are just, there's this wallow we can see from camp, and there's just bulls piling into this water
It's
hole.
just 200 yards.
Yeah, we're just
If
like,
that,
yeah.
from us.
Yeah.
Like, just right in front of us, wide open. Just,
and we're all like, dude, we're gonna
it's
smoke.
game over, you know.
Yeah.
We're,
Haven't seen nobody, no tents, no nothing.
Yeah.
And that evening, we're sitting around camp right before we all kind of bust up, and we see these pack service coming in. And right across the canyon from us, they put up like 9 tents.
No way.
yeah.
And we're like,
Here we go.
golly.
Which we knew that they were coming. We just didn't know exactly where, you know, and
Yeah.
they wanted to be in our canyon.
Mm-hmm.
What we found out.
Yeah.
Why don't you back up a little bit here and tell them about the boot situation?
Oh, gosh, dang.
Because I'm going to tell y'all, boots in your feet
Yeah.
are the most important thing, in my opinion, on those mountains. And
10,
having
10, 12, 16 miles a day. I can see that.
I ended up, you know, investing in a really, you know, high-end pair of boots
Yeah.
on the first trip
I was
because,
texting you back and forth. There was like, we had to go to town and get some new boots.
yeah, I couldn't do it. I knew that if I would have kept those boots, I wouldn't have lasted
You've
3
been
days.
an amputee.
I really wouldn't have. Like, your feet, when you get blisters
Yeah.
on those mountains with weight on your back, it's
Yeah.
bad news, you know, and it's...
The mule's got to have some good horseshoes.
Hey, that's
That's
right.
right,
That's
boy.
right. And brother over here, you know, he thought he was good.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
Yeah. I bought me a pair of, well, before the scouting trip even, I think I had went through 3 or 4 different pairs of
Yeah.
$500 pair of boots, trying to find ones that wouldn't give me blisters.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I know what it's like out there, and
Oh,
we're
yeah.
about to go through the ringer.
Yeah. And fit his foot. That was what his issue
Yeah.
was.
So I got a really small heel. So they don't make a boot with a small enough heel pocket.
You got lady feet.
Yeah.
Yes, baby
Skinny
feet.
slide.
Not mule feet. Not mule feet. Promise you.
Mountain feet.
Yeah, there we go.
So, anyway, yeah, go feet.
Yeah.
So anyway, got me a pair of Kenetrex, and they fit like a glove, and I really liked them, but I didn't get them broke in. It takes 35 to 50 miles to get them
I
broke
can
in,
see that. Yeah.
and I didn't have the time to put that kind of mileage on them before we left. So first trip up the mountain, 3 miles, I've got blisters on both feet, and I'm like, it ain't even, the hunting even started yet.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, back to the Danners, you know, just the whitetail specials.
Yeah.
And I was like, I healed up in the Danners because I could, yeah.
Awesome.
So it was a blessing that I had those. I brought those.
I don't know. I think it was just during turkey season. I wore some wrong boots one time, and day 1 of a 5-day trip, I'm all taped up and
Yep.
Yeah.
ugh, yeah, man.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we were all taped up. At least I was. I was taped up on day 1, and
Yeah.
I did not take the tape off until
Yeah.
we went home.
Keep it going.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep stacking it.
Why don't you start off on the first morning whenever we...
First morning, yeah, because that's pretty much where we were.
Yeah.
First morning, we get up, make sure we're up early enough. We want to start, you know, herd bulls all night long.
Yeah.
I mean, just everywhere. We're like, yep, couldn't sleep. You know, maybe 30 minutes of
Yeah.
sleep here,
Jitters.
30 minutes of sleep there. And finally breaks daylight, and we're set up above that waller. We're like, well, we'll sit the waller for a few hours because we've seen bulls filtering in and out of there for 3 hours the
Mhm.
morning before. And sure enough, right at daybreak, here comes this bull coming over the ridge. We're like, wind's perfect. Everything's going to be beautiful. This bull's going to work in at 30 yards. Just first 10 minutes, smack one, you know. He's a decent 5-point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we would all been happy to kill him.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And he starts working down the ridge. And I look back behind us. I'm on one side because we've seen some bulls come up the backside. And Tyler and Ryan were on the other side. We're like, well, we'll just catch them however they come in. We'll get one. And here comes this red light. Boop, doop, doop.
And it's breaking day. Like
Breaking day.
You could shoot.
Yeah, you don't need a light to see.
Yeah.
It's that. I mean, it's shooting light. And that bull goes right up the mountain. We're like, golly. golly, really? And this is a guide. Like, he's supposed to
gosh.
know what's going on.
Boy.
And another bull, same thing. Right up the ridge. And we're like, dang it. And these guys are just standing back there waiting. They know we're there.
Yeah.
They just will not turn their lights off. And we're like, what are you guys doing?
Sabotage, you think? Or
Well, and that's what we had a conversation about it. Trevor, he turned around and flashed them because you couldn't see us. We were in a little hole there.
Yeah.
And, you know, he flashed them and they turned their lights off.
Okay.
I would not have been, you know, we talked about it. I really honestly think they turned their lights back on. You know, we wasn't turned around,
Yeah.
but might not have been the case, but there's a very good possibility because, you know, they, at the time when they turned their lights off, they were still coming down the mountain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it was like, why they just, you know, wind was good and
That's
it was
a bad deal.
it was blowing good. So I mean,
I've
it
had that
wasn't
happen
like
during
it
turkey,
was,
turkey season before out on Chappie. Like people, you know,
Yeah.
go in with no light. And
Yeah.
They intentionally blow you out.
Well, and I get, like, I don't understand that. There's no etiquette there, obviously, but I get, like, they got people paying big money to
Sure.
be there. So
Yeah.
they want to make sure their clients get
Yeah.
a bull. That makes them a little salty when there's somebody hunting over
Yeah,
there.
I can imagine.
The spot they've been hunting for 15 years or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So, I mean, I get it, but there was no need in what they did.
we
I know.
talked to them
Yeah, we talked to them, and they were nice guys.
Yeah.
Seemed like.
and we wished them the best of luck. You know,
Sure.
we wasn't,
Yeah, what do
didn't
you
have a
do?
bad attitude. There's no reason for it.
What
I
are you
mean,
gonna
you
do?
know,
Yeah.
you just got to move on and keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. So, we were visiting with them, and as we're talking to them, a new bull, good 6 point,
Mhm.
pops the ridge, and we're like, well, we were here first, we're going to go chase that bull. Like, we're ditching the water hole that this is how it's going to be this morning. So we chased him for 3 miles.
Ran.
Yeah, we ran.
And I was dealing with sickness. I had allergies real bad before we left,
Never
thanks to
fails.
my wife.
Yeah, borderline
Uh,
bronchitis.
Yeah,
going
more,
on.
yeah, just oh man, that first hill.
Burned it out.
He
of
was
you.
like, "Oh, I'm going, we're going," and it's full on running. Like we got to get up here and get on this bull before he crosses the next canyon.
Yeah, we had to try to cut him
It's-
off.
Yeah, that's what we were trying to do, and
They're faster than we are.
It's pretty nice whenever you're dealing with high altitude and your oxygen intake's 40% less.
I was starting to get upset because I was like, "This ain't good." Like,
Yeah.
I was starting to get worried there
Yeah.
for that first day.
I guarantee
It was bad.
So, chase that bull 3 miles, nothing. I think his cows ended up seeing us when we crested there. We didn't know he had cows. It's like we
Yeah.
watched him; he was by himself, but he picked up a couple cows as soon as he
Yeah.
got over the ridge. So, when we topped, they seen us and they took him out. So we're like, okay, well, we'll go back to camp, get on another bull, you know, and we got on another one. We work all the way down this ridge, probably 2 miles down the ridge.
Yeah, that was like mile 8.
Yeah, we were like mile 8, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe 9.
Yeah.
And we get in there and we hear some cow calling. All of a sudden, we see some people going right at him. We're like, dang. Well, I ain't hearing no bulls in this canyon, so
Mhm.
back to the top we go, you know. And I was like, well, this canyon I was in yesterday evening, I glassed this one bull on a little point, and it's in a nasty spot, just down in a hole. And I'm like, I know he'll be there. Then nobody's gonna go down there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
people aren't stupid. And Tyler's like, well, we are. So
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I was like,
he's
we're
like,
good.
yeah,
We're
he's
going.
like, dude, if we're gonna do something hard, let's do it on the first day when we're
Oh, yeah.
fresh. You know, we're not
for
trying
sure.
to.
That's smart.
So we go up there, and I was like, let's go sit on this point, and we'll listen for him. And if he bugles, we'll go get him. And we get up there, and we're eating lunch, just kind of chilling. It's 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Yep.
And there he goes.
I
Fires
stood right up, and he was trying to take him a little cat nap. I said, time to go, boys. He done messed up.
So we bail off this thing, and it's steep. Everywhere is so steep. 3 points of contact going
Oh, yeah.
down. And knew which point he was on. We just slipped down in there real slow. Well, another bull fires up, and we called him the growler bull. He didn't have a full bugle. He would just kind of a little bit, you know, not a whole lot. And we're like, he sounds old.
Yeah.
Just kind of one of them. I don't need to bugle.
Yeah.
Like everybody knows
The
who Daddy
ladies
is.
come to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I said, Ryan, you're gonna have to pick. We got to this spot, this really steep spot at the point. I'm like, Ryan, you're gonna have to pick one because we're fixing to split them, and we need to get the wind right on one, and not blow out this other one. So he picks the growler bull. So we slip down in there, and we're slipping it on him, and slipping it on him, and slipping it on him, and finally we get within 30 yards of this bull.
Well, we had a 300 plus inch 6x6 come out of that canyon right before we dropped off in it, just out of nowhere. He never bugled.
Yeah.
You know, he was just coming in from both those bulls getting back after each other.
Yeah.
So there was, you know, 3 there that we knew about
At that time.
at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ryan gets it.
Everybody's killing.
Oh
No,
yeah,
we
it
were
was
like-
like, oh, what do we like? Oh my gosh, what did we just get into?
Keep them knocked, boys.
Yeah. And we kept just remember we kept hearing cow calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I kept hearing it, you know, I was staying back and I was trying to let Trevor and, you know, of course Ryan was up ahead of us, but I was trying to just stay back and just remember this because later in the story you'll figure out why we was hearing cow calls.
Yeah,
so
And we were like, dude, there's elk all in this little cut, you know.
it was a big hole.
Yeah, big hole. And we get Ryan in position, and I'm like, we've been just kind of cow calling this whole time, not really being aggressive, just feeling this bull out. And he's bugling. And I'm like, Ryan, he's not coming out of this hole. He's bedding there. I was like, we're going to have to try to pull him out. So I'm going to bugle, and it's either going to work or it ain't. So I'll rip one, and the next time that bull bugles, he's 400 yards down the mountain.
Yeah.
So we were in his bubble. He just didn't want to.
Yeah.
Didn't want to scrap.
No, he knew it wasn't time. He knew the cows weren't quite ready, so he's
Yeah.
like, I'm not wasting my energy just yet.
He wasn't the king of that canyon.
Yeah, he was an old bull though.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a little bit, but we're like, well, let's go try the other bull. So we hike back up this steep goat face, you know,
Mm-hmm.
crest the top, and this bull hasn't bugled in an hour. It's about how long it took us to get back up there. It's probably what.
Luckily, I checked the wind when we got to that point.
So it's 1:30 now at this point. And Tyler checks the wind. We get the wind right where we think he's at. I was like, Ryan, go get set up. There's I guess an elk trail just kind of around in this mountain on this point. And I was like, you sit up there. We're going to stay back here about 20, 30 yards. And I'm going to let one rip. And hopefully, you know, this one wants to play the game. And I just let out the nastiest, meanest sounding bugle I could. Because if a bull bugled, it was because this bull bugled first.
Yeah.
He was the one that started all the
whole canyon
Yeah.
bugling.
If
It was him
Yeah.
that was starting.
He would always bugle first, and the rest of them would follow.
Yeah.
So when I bugled, he was like, "Whoa!"
He didn't even finish his bugle.
I was in my bugle. He cuts me off.
Cut you off like a turkey.
You just like a
And
turkey.
I
That's
mean,
crazy.
Yeah.
his breaking up.
Yeah, he
and
sounded
bugle,
demonic.
Yeah.
I've never heard. This is the
It
only bull
was-
we heard that sounded quite like that.
Yeah,
but
it
he
was
was just
insane.
like ready to fight. And as soon as that bull bugles, I see Ryan turn around. And he's like, "I see him. He's 40 yards or 50 yards, whatever."
50, I think.
Yeah, 54. And he's
Yeah.
like,
That's got to be pretty deafening too, right?
"Oh, it was. It was."
Yeah.
Oh man.
So-
I wouldn't know what that would sound like having something like that.
It's-
You know how it is with a turkey spitting and drumming when
Oh
you're
yeah.
12 yards away, but or gobbling. But
Yeah. So Ryan, he's on pins and needles. He's just trying to find a hole. You know, he's trying to.
Mhm.
In Arkansas, it's if you find a hole, you shoot through it.
Yeah. You,
I mean, you make it happen. So this bull is raking a tree, and he's got this little hole. He says about the size of a basketball, and he draws. And we're all watching. We're just in suspense, waiting. He shoots, and you just hear.
I couldn't see nothing. Like I'm behind him raking a tree, you know.
yeah,
And I just heard like bow goes off and then you
Yeah,
know,
smack, and we're like, "Uh-oh, that didn't sound like bone."
Yeah.
He just smokes a tree.
oh really?
Yeah.
And he did he pin gapped it, but the tree was closer than he thought it was, or the limb was. So he's like, we're all just like, "Oh no!" And I just bugle real quick, you know. And bull bugles back. We're like, okay, we're still in the game. He has no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
I was like, Tyler, I need you to start raking. So Tyler starts raking, and I'm just breathing heavy in my bugle tube and communicating with this bull, and he's just fired up. And all of a sudden, I just see him just coming across. And I'm like, it's about to go down. And he never turns. Apparently, I didn't know the elk trail. It made like a Z, and then kind of went up, and then back around to Ryan. Well, I just see him going up, and I lose him. I'm like, Tyler, you got to go up the mountain because he's going to get he's going to try to circle us and get our wind and see what bull we are, just like a whitetail buck, you know.
Yeah.
mid stride.
Yeah. So
Stop.
yeah, Tyler's hauling butt. I'm like, And I look back at Ryan and I just see half his rat coming around the
Yeah.
corner right to Ryan. I'm just like, turn around to Tyler. I'm like, stop. It's just as loud and as
Yeah.
quiet as I could, and Tyler stops and that bull is just, coming right at Ryan and he just draws and just squares him up. Dead perfect shot. 22 yards probably.
That's close.
Oh, dude. And that bull, 346.
Wow.
Studley.
It's a
Studley bull.
best pro shot bull.
Yeah.
That's what we called it.
The pictures I saw, I was like, wow, that's pretty legit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
20-inch brown tines, dude. I'm like, wow.
That's great.
Just mass as big as your forearm. It was wonderful. Anyway, so Ryan, he turns around, he shoots. He just like mic drops his bow.
Yeah.
He's like,
Don't need this
what?
no more.
Yeah, what just happened? He's
Yeah.
just in awe. And yeah, we're like, can't believe that just happened. Day
Yeah.
one,
Emotions were very, very high
Yeah.
there because,
Yeah.
like,
That's
that shot.
You got some guy that's telling you like nobody's gonna kill him.
Oh, well, yeah, and it was
Right.
You're one day in like 340, whatever.
Well, and it's like I didn't even get to see any of this happen because I'm
Sure.
kind of in the back, and all I seen was just massive. When he shot, I seen him when he turned his head. I got to see him, and I'm like, "What did he just shoot?" And Trevor's watching the whole thing, and
Yeah.
Ryan's like, he didn't even think it was that big.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, if this bull is half of what I think I just saw,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you just shot a monster. And it was like, there was on Ryan's bull, there was more emotion there than probably any of them because. Killing that bull and getting a shot on that bull, like, dude, that made the trip.
Sure.
Like,
Oh, yeah. I could have not killed a bull and been.
Oh, yeah,
100%.
100%.
Like,
Yeah.
that right there made everything.
Yeah.
Like, right there.
So we gather, we're hugging, high fiving. I'm like, I couldn't see the shot. I could see the bull, but I couldn't see the shot. And I'm like, Ryan, where'd you hit him? And he's like, in the neck.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
He goes,
Here we
I
go.
think it was in the neck.
Oh,
I'm like,
Trevor's-
oh my
Trevor's-
god.
his face was like, straight serious.
Yeah.
Like, you better know where you shot
Yeah.
that thing. Because we need to know,
That's a big target. I mean,
It is a big
It
target,
is.
but
that's
like,
big old lungs.
we
on
need to
it,
know
like
if we need-
22 yards.
but I'm just like, I need to know if I need to push this bull,
Yeah.
and keep him bleeding, or if we need to
Yep.
wait 6 hours, or
he's going straight up the mountain
Yeah.
yeah.
after this shot.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, well, he said, initially I felt really good about the shot. He said, then I blacked out. I'm
Yes.
like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we was talking about that yesterday about deer hunting. It's
Yeah.
like you go through all this stuff, it's like your money whenever you let the thing go, and after it's over with, I turn into like a woman. Like,
Which tree did I shoot it by again?
yeah, where was
How
that?
far was he?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I just did, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We
Yes,
just had that
yes,
conversation yesterday. You black out, don't remember where the arrow hit or where you were at, where it was standing. Was it quarter to, quarter away? How many points I had?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and I kind of got Ryan into hunting about 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I kind of introduced him into it. He got I got him his first deer, and it's just kind of all been downhill from there. He's
Yeah.
ate up with it, and
Bless his wife.
yeah,
Yeah.
poor Whitney. But so to be a part of that, and then to take him on this, I say take him, us be together on this trip
Sure,
and get
yeah.
him a big bull to kind of top off his hunting careers to this
Oh,
point. It's
definitely.
just
Oh, yeah.
wonderful.
And 2 years of no,
Yeah.
eating tag soup
Yeah.
out west,
Yeah.
that bull. Like,
Because he
Putting in
grinded.
That
the
was
work,
his-
putting in the
oh,
work, and
yeah.
not coming home with anything. It's like what's the saying? Hard work eventually pays off.
Yep.
Nobody tells you when, type thing.
yeah, it did. It did that day for him. I can
Yeah.
promise you that.
Just keep doing it, and you're eventually gonna make something happen.
Yep. So we start tracking this bull, and we got great blood, and we're like, well,
Oh,
as
yeah.
long as we got good blood, we're just going to keep going. If he's bleeding, we're going to keep him bleeding. We don't want him bedding up and getting
So
caught.
that's the process. Just keep them going.
Well,
The
I'm just treating-
situation,
yeah.
because, in our past of, tracking, whitetails,
Whitetails,
Yeah.
we were worried that, he was either going to, bed up and clog up to where he wasn't going to be bleeding. And
Right.
we were worried about that because with him not knowing exactly where he shot the bull at.
Yeah.
so we
and-
knew it was either a flesh hit and
Yep.
maybe artery, or it was a lung heart.
we was ready to
territory.
take the chance to hopefully, what we were thinking is get another shot on the bull.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Being able to have that,
Yeah.
even if we did jump them, maybe we could get on them and get another arrow.
Yeah, because they're tough.
Yeah, it's
Oh, I'm sure.
500, 586 yards is what that bull did
With-
up, straight up. I'm
Mhm.
talking almost 3 points of contact
Yeah.
And it was bleeding. That was what the craziest thing is. We had blood the whole way. Like,
They're just tough.
Wow.
going uphill, we were worried about not having no blood.
Sure.
Like
I mean,
whitetails here, it's you ain't getting maybe drop here and there
Yeah.
going uphill, but
and enough blood for 6 whitetails.
yeah. Oh, it was.
It was nuts.
How is this thing still alive?
Yeah.
Like,
So we just keep going. We're just taking breaks. We're trying to give him time. We give him probably 30, 45 minutes right off the bat, and then just follow the blood trail. Just not trying to lose our breath. Just taking our time.
Yeah.
And I was in the back most of the time. Tyler and Ryan were in the front, and for some reason I get in the front. And I come around the corner and he's laying there, dead. I'm like,
just.
I look at Ryan and I'm like, buddy, here's your bull right here, and he just we all started crying. It makes me tear up just thinking about it.
Dude.
But dude, we all went to hugging and high fiving and wonderful feeling
Yeah.
I can imagine.
to lay hands on a bull like that you just think, you're never gonna ever kill a bull that big.
Yeah. And then the joy goes away, and you're like, we gotta get this.
Yeah,
thing.
now
Oh,
again.
Yeah.
And we was, at this time we're
16.
right at 16 miles in, and we're out of water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
We have.
I think I got an inch left in one of my canteens or one of my.
Time to call in.
So
a
yeah, we were, we sat there and, we prayed about it. Like, Lord, we were just asking to just get him off, let us get off this mountain. That's what we were worried about because we knew we still had to pack that bull.
Sure.
And it's 90 degrees.
Oh.
Yeah, it's 90 degrees,
So we're
sun
talking.
blazing.
This is 2-3 o'clock by this.
Yeah, this is 2:30,
It was
3 o'clock.
yeah, right at 3 o'clock,
Yeah.
and it was sun, no clouds in the forecast, no rain in the forecast, and it's like we're just asking to get us off this mountain because we still have to pack this bull out. 1.5 miles up that mountain, just to get the mules. We was gonna have a pack out service come in and get them because we wanted to be fresh for the other guys,
Sure.
having tags still, and it was a blessing in the skies.
Yeah, we
It
prayed and just Lord help us, give us what we need.
Yeah.
Get us back to camp.
And it was what
5, 10 minutes.
I was about to say 10 minutes. We had one little cloud come right above us, and it started downpouring.
Yeah.
And we're like, I don't know who said. I think it was either you or Ryan. You were like tarp.
No, yeah, I was like, dude, we gotta get a tarp out.
Yeah.
I don't even have any rain gear.
Yeah, he did. He's like, yeah, I left it at the truck. I'm like, yeah, you're dumb. He's like, well, there ain't no rain in the forecast. I'm like,
Well, I knew we had the tarp,
yeah,
so we're like scrambling. We don't want all our gear wet, so we pitched the tarp, and we're just taking a break. And it's raining, and mind you, we're out of water. This is how dumb we are.
yeah.
So
what should we do with this water?
yeah. He's like, I'm on the phone with my dad.
Yeah.
And we're telling him, I'm like, yeah, we're out of water, don't know what we're going to do. And he's like, well, it's raining, ain't it? I'm like,
Yeah. He's like,
yeah. Like, no brainer. Yeah. So we start catching rainwater.
We'll blame that on the altitude.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely the altitude.
Yeah.
No, I'm-
yeah. There was a lot of miles walked that day.
yeah. So it's raining, we're catching rainwater, and I can't make this up. It rains just long enough for us to fill up every bottle we had to the top, and as soon as we got it full, that was it.
Wow.
And no more water.
That's awesome.
And it dropped.
20
20,
degrees.
I was about to say 20, 25 degrees.
Yeah,
and
so now it's mid 70s.
maybe 20 minutes,
Nice.
if that. Like, it was stupid fast how it all happened.
Yep. So we got a break. We got cooled off, rejuvenated. We were right in the middle of cutting up this bull, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So cooled the meat off.
Yep.
We kind of felt a lot less pressure.
Oh, sure.
We got some water.
Yeah, you got
You know,
you got
meat-
something to drink.
Yeah. Meat's getting cooled down. We're like, we're taking a break. So we're getting this bull cut up. And Ryan takes the load up to the top. Me and Tyler finish caping this thing out and just kind of getting things gathered.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan gets back, and me and Tyler are ready to take our first load. And
Trevor asked me, he goes,
yeah,
you
I was
taking your boat
yeah.
out? I'm like, you dang right. I said, I'm taking the heaviest load I can take first trip.
Yeah.
Like, I'm taking my bow, everything here that I have,
Yeah.
we're going.
I'm like,
And there's been a bull bugling, while there was bulls bugling, but there was one in particular that was right below us, and he kept screaming, and Trevor's like, well,
every
he's
time.
like, keep doing it, big boy. He goes, we're going to be in here in the morning, we're going to go right back after you. Just keep on talking.
Yeah, keep talking. We're going to get you.
Yeah.
So we made it to the top, and we got about another 200 yards before we get to Ryan's pen where he drops the first load.
Yep.
And that bull bugles. And we got like 10 minutes of shooting light left
Yeah, maybe.
at best. And Tyler's
That's
like,
not always happens.
Oh, yeah.
It was.
yeah. So we both got about 90 pounds of meat on our back. And Tyler's like, get this thing off my back. And so I pull his pack off, he gets his bow, and Tyler goes up and there's that bull.
Yeah.
And so I start bugling, I start raking, and I just kind of got him fired up enough to stay in the zone while Tyler snuck in to 62 yards?
72.
72 yards.
Yeah, I couldn't range. I was like, man, I'm gonna have to stand up to range because there was like this sagebrush that was in this meadow is where this was at.
Yeah.
And it was high enough to where I was like, man, I'm gonna have to stand up to range. Like I know, like, and he was, once he bugled that last time, he started raking. And I'm like, now's my chance. So I stood up, and so I've got two rangefinders. I've got one that's got the red dot inside of it that tells me the yardage. Well, that one don't fit in my bino harness as well. So I was like, well, I'm gonna take my regular one that just got black. Well, it was hard to see. And I'm like, so I'd have to range and then like pull the rangefinder off of the bull, and I'm like 72. I'm like, it's now or never. And I'm running a 5-pin dial. We were all running a 5-pin dial.
Yeah.
And so I ranged it 72 yards, and we had been, I didn't shoot under 70, 80 yards for 6.5 months.
Oh,
like I've never
That came in
at
handy.
80 yards, I was 100% confident I was making that shot.
Yeah.
And that's what we just knew that we were going to try to give us
Every opportunity possible.
Sure.
Yes. So I drew back and I got stood up, and there was a sagebrush that he was raking, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to hold the pin right on top of it because it's holding his heart, and so bow goes off, and it seems like it took 10 full seconds for the arrow to get there, and he can see everything go down, and he's like, bow went off and he don't hear nothing. He's like did he miss? And then all of a sudden you hear it just smokes him. And at that moment, we're like, well, did I miss it? Because it was kind of like iffy, weird.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, the bull turns, and when he turns,
I bugled.
he bugled. And this thing, and he's kind of running sideways. And at this time, I'm like thinking in my head, he might stop and get another arrow. So I'm running, after the bull.
It's funny, you just see old mule just run across the skyline.
Yeah, and I'm
He didn't have his bow, just the arrow.
Yeah. At the time, as I'm running, I'm pulling another arrow, trying to get it knocked, and then finally he just stops. And I'm like, well, I can't range him. I ain't got the time to range him here. So I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I think he's 60.
Yeah.
I'm going to use my 50 pin.
Yeah.
Because, see, I'm still dialed to 72.
Sure. Yeah.
And anything about, 5-pin dials, you can only use your last pin. Or that's what your yardage is at.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm going to use my 50 and hope. Well, at this time, when he did that, we just seen blood just pumping.
Okay.
And at his
Confirmed
exit,
it.
so I
Yeah,
knew I
confirmed
got out. I didn't know if I had a pass through, but I knew I got out the other
Yeah.
side. And so I drew back, and I 12 ring this thing. I could not believe it. And it was like, it happened so fast, and I turn around. This is what's funny is, I've got big feet. They call me clumsy. It's been my whole life. And, I'm running at Trevor, and I tripped, man.
Over this little video,
Little bit,
sagebrush.
yeah. The whole trip, I hadn't tripped. I hadn't done nothing. And after I shoot my bull, I tripped. Bow went flying. I did a front flip, and I hit hard. It did not feel pleasant. But man, I got up.
Everybody celebrates different.
Yeah. Trevor's like, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" And I didn't even care. I don't care.
I just see Tyler, don't see Tyler.
Yeah. So it was. He starts screaming, and at the time, Ryan's down there, and he's like, he thought he could faintly hear us, and he's like, well, is he trying to find me? Is it, because it's a ways and it's getting close to dark at this time. And he was like, well, maybe they're trying to see where I'm at. So he said something. Of course, we didn't hear him, but it was from him yelling.
Yeah, I mean,
screaming. Everybody on the mountain probably heard us.
Oh,
But
yeah.
It was just
I'm
in
like,
awe.
all the emotion, we just killed 2 bulls.
Yeah.
Day one. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
Y'all
I gotta
know
let
me
it
because the
out.
first thing I would have done, I'm gonna go find that guy and say we can go kill him.
Yeah.
I can promise you it was in our heads, but
I'll say that we didn't have to say it.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Come help me drag these 2 bulls out, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like, oh, and it was always like, we was telling our wives, because they're a big part of the story with everything,
Sure.
just taking care of everything back home, and we was always like, yeah, I really think we can kill 2 in one day. That was always the kind of joke,
Yeah.
and to do it was just, oh man, we got back to Ryan, and Trevor's like, dude, where'd you put the meat at? He's like, we looked for it for 10 minutes. We could never find it. And he's like, Well, I thought the pin on Onyx was, self-explanatory.
It's right in that point of trees.
There's
out in the
only
middle of
3
that
trees
field.
in the field, and Trevor's like, "Nah, dude, we're kidding. We just shot another bull."
Yeah.
He flipped. I think he hit me in the head. Hat went flying. I mean, it was.
Well, there was about 10 yards of just aspens and brush just in between us.
Nasty.
Yeah, when Tyler said that, dude, it's just like a bulldozer with come over to give us a big old hug. So
That's awesome.
Wow. 2 in one day, huh?
2
Oh,
in
it
one day.
was-
That's crazy.
Oh yeah, and about that time we realized we just killed 2 bulls in one day. Like,
Yeah, we're already
just
hurting.
doubled, right?
yeah,
Yeah, it was.
because we spent 6 hours on Ryan's bull
Yep.
getting it
Wow. That's
butchered.
And
And
that's me and him cutting.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
and we, deboned it. It's fully deboned.
Sure.
Caped.
Caped fully out. I mean,
Horns
it's-
are cut
yeah,
off. I
Horns
mean-
are cut off. Like, it's ready to come off the mountain.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so we didn't pull my bull off the mountain that night. But
yeah. So we hung the meat that night.
mm-hmm.
We let Tyler's bull rest. We went and found him after we got all the meat up the mountain where we felt comfortable leaving it.
So you just let it lay? No.
We did.
No
It was
coyotes or anything to worry about there?
I think we had one
Yeah.
when we
Kind
got
of picked at it.
picked at it when we got back that
Not
next
too
morning,
bad.
but it was cool enough that night, and
Yeah.
And
we
we
asked the
killed
guy
it late,
service
yeah.
too,
Yeah,
There
we
was
killed
a-
it late enough that we didn't think it was full.
the pack out guy that we finally.
That brings me to another point. I still haven't eaten elk steaks.
Yeah, I think I was supposed to bring you some. That's all right. I know where you live. I'll bring you some.
Those are hard to come by.
Yeah, those are fighting words in Trevor. So,
1,000 pounds of steak. I'll give it a steak. Come on.
yeah.
Oh,
What's a backstrap look like on one of them dudes?
Well, I can tell you, I'm
not as big as your
6'4",
leg.
and they come down to past my waist.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, like you, it's like 4 deer.
I can tell you this, the chuck roast that you get off of a whitetail, I cut it in 4s.
Wow.
Just to fit. Wife goes, we cooked the first roast a couple days ago, and she's like, I had to pull out the big crock pot. I'm like, well, that was the smallest one, so what are we going to do about the others?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Figure it out.
Joints.
Yeah.
So we let the bull lay, and I think I hike up, I get service, call our pack out guy. I'm like, hey, we just killed another bull. And he's like, do what?
What?
Yeah, because he was like, because I'd kind of been talking to him before the trip, making sure he was going to be available and in town.
Yeah.
And,
That's
you know,
smart.
yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot of homework that went into this because
No,
this was
sure.
a once in a lifetime hunt. So
Yeah.
We needed to, every step needed to be planned out
Yes.
for when we did kill, we could continue to hunt just to be respectful for Tyler and myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So got a hold of him. That was another couple miles for me because I had to walk
Yeah.
a mile just to get service.
Yeah, and it was a nasty hill that he
Oh,
had to
dude.
climb up just to get service.
Yeah. So get a hold of him, get everything figured out. The boys are down at the meet, just kind of hanging out, waiting, visiting about the day, and come back. And by this time it's 10 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
roughly 9:45, 10 o'clock.
We were drained
Drained.
Oh,
at that time. It was
Yeah.
bad,
Been up since 4:30. Didn't sleep the night before.
and we was running out of water again.
Yeah, we were starting to run out of water. And thankfully, it was still cool.
Yeah.
So we were
Being
just
on such an emotional high too.
Oh,
You know,
dude,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
you know, that
strange.
just wipes you out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So we're walking into camp and my legs are locking up.
Well, mine was before my right
Yeah.
or my left one. It was the first. My left one was the first one. I'm like, Trevor, I can't stop. Like
Yeah.
if I stop, it's gonna be bad. Like and it's pulling hard every step. It feels like my muscles. Like I'm probably burning muscles out right now. Like
Is that from all the hiking or from the
Yeah.
somersault?
maybe a little bit of both.
Celebratory somersault?
Yeah.
Ah, God.
It was 20. We looked at the track. I looked at the tracker when we got back to camp that night, and
21.7 or
Wow.
6 miles.
Yep.
In one day,
You
2
almost did a
bulls.
marathon.
yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
With 90 pounds on your back plus probably.
Oh
Well,
yeah, and when we was packing out, our day packs were around
30,
30
35.
pounds. Yeah, 35
Hey, I'm
pounds.
about
but-
to elk hunt. I'm out.
No, you're done.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Hey, you can do it a lot easier than we did it.
Yeah.
You gonna
That's-
drop you in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parachute in. Well, I can relate to the injury. My first good buck, I was with a buddy of mine, and we were in South Arkansas, and he busted my lip like straight up. He come running and like jumped,
Yeah.
boom! He right crossed me, man. I was bleeding. I didn't even care. dude.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I know what
Just
that's like.
ride that emotional high.
Yeah, it's like that's just part of the fun.
Too much adrenaline.
Well, and that's like another thing is like my bull, like it didn't. We had emotions obviously, but it was like didn't really get to enjoy my bull. because we were so drained.
Yeah.
Like,
And it happened so fast.
Yeah, everything happened so fast, and it was
Adrenaline
like,
pushes you so far.
oh, and we was at the breaking point,
Yeah,
100%.
I
I
can
was
imagine.
like, Ryan, just take one picture, just so I can, send out to the
Sure.
wife and, close friends. And I'm like, just take a picture. I'm like, let's get out. We've got to get out of here. Like,
Yeah.
we've got to get back and get some sleep and food.
Yeah.
So it was.
It was
I
a
think
day.
you had one drink left of your water.
I had one. Yeah, the Lord. That's just how the Lord provides it. We had 1 inch of water in one bottle. Is all we had left.
He literally gave us enough, literally, just to make it back
just
to
to make it
camp.
back to camp.
Like,
Yeah.
blessing all on its own. Like,
So we sleep. We get up fairly early, a little after daylight.
Yeah.
I mean, our plan was just to go take care of the bull, get him packed up, and we had to get him done by like 9 o'clock because that's when Brian was supposed to be up there with the
Yep.
mules.
Okay, so he come the next day. I was going to ask, did he come that late at night? Or?
No, I mean he probably would have.
So you just hang it? Is that what you do?
Yeah, we just
Yep.
hang it. We got meat bags. Actually, they say it's like really good to hang meat.
Yep.
I've read that, yeah,
Yes.
with those little sock-looking
Yep.
bags.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, no bears? Not a bear issue there?
yeah, there's some bears there. We've
Yeah.
seen a few. There's not a ton.
So they're not on them right after you shoot them or nothing?
No,
That's good. That's
no.
good.
Luckily.
Yeah.
yeah.
I've heard that's an issue in some places.
Yes, it can
Yeah.
be, especially like northern wild.
And we did hang them. They were fairly high, especially on
Yeah.
Ryan's. Mine was obviously not. It wasn't cut up yet, but Ryan's was.
Yeah,
It was-
we got rounds as high off the ground as we could. So
Yeah.
But we got Tyler's bull cut up, got it in packs, and about the same time we start hearing mules coming off the mountain. So it was perfect timing, Got him. He showed up and he's like, "It's deboned, right?" And we're like, "Yeah." He goes, "And caped?" "Yeah." He said, "Y'all are taking the horns?" He's like, and we're like, "Yeah." And he goes,
Oh,
"Y'all are awesome."
Yeah.
He's
oh,
like,
it was-
"Yeah, no idea how many times people call me and I roll up when they're standing there with a little pocket knife.
Yeah.
And the bull's not cut up."
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he's like,
What do I do now?
boys, like,
Yeah.
what are we doing here? Like,
"Yeah." So
I'm
he
just
was,
to pack the meat out.
Yeah.
It's a whole other thing just to do what he does. And
yeah, and
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
them mules were coming off some
Steve,
nasty stuff. Like,
Yeah.
they're amazing animals.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've seen some videos of those dudes doing that stuff, and they just kind of almost lean all the way back on the mule
Yep.
and like go down the hill and like they're riding it out. Like,
yeah, if
I mean,
Dude, when we hiked the Grand Canyon when I was
Mhm.
younger, and they had mule trains in there, and
Yep.
they were like sure-footed
oh yeah,
Yeah.
monsters. They
Yep.
go anywhere, man.
Yeah.
I was impressed. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I
It's-
mean they're carrying a whole bull on their back, each one of them, and just
yeah, he's like, I'm taking both of them. The night before we're like, well, he's gonna come get one, and then he's gonna go back to the truck, and then come get the other one. He's like, oh no, I'm taking both of them. Y'all
Yeah.
did awesome. Like, we're taking both of them out of here. And just to give you a little outside of what this area looked like we had to pack this bull 1.5 miles out of the canyon because he could not get his mules
Yeah, I was
off.
telling him that. So I had to go like a mile and a half, 2 miles just so the mules could get
Yes.
there before they
Yeah.
could even.
Because he told us, he's like, boys, I can't. Like,
Yeah.
and he does this for a living. He's done it for ever since he was out of high school. And, man, it was.
So that's the
Some
hole
Steve.
where the elk were. Down in that
yes,
hole.
they were in the hole.
Is that
Yes.
why you think? Because it's
Yes.
just nastiest, ruggedest, grossest. Yeah.
Well, and that's
No
the.
pressure.
No pressure.
There was.
Nobody wants to be in that mess, huh?
So that day, me and Ryan, we went out and.
Except some Arkansas boys.
Yes. Well, and that's what I'm getting to. So me and Ryan and the pack out guys, we went back to the truck and was going to get everything on ice, refuel stuff. We was going to get new clothes, bring him new clothes up and some more food for him because we're planning now to stay however long, because we've got 2 bulls killed. We're just whatever, waiting on him. He's like, well, I'm going to go hunt. We're like, dude, you're crazy, but all right, that's what we're here to do. So he goes back in there and ends up meeting up with a guide, and you can tell him a little bit about that.
Yeah,
about-
so I'm sitting in the saddle, more or less, like, it took a lot for me to get to where I was. It wasn't a bad walk. I was just so wore out from the night before, and then that morning, working your bull up. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go get in this little saddle on this point. I'm just gonna rest. If I hear a bull, I'll chase it, but if I don't, great. I need some time, let my legs rest, and hear a bull, kind of get on him a little bit. It was the same growler bull from the day before, so I knew he was probably a good bull, and he didn't talk a whole lot. He maybe bugled 4 or 5 times in the span of an hour, kind of like an old wise turkey. He just don't talk much.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really push the subject real hard. And I'm sitting there in this saddle, just hoping maybe something comes up and crosses right there. There were some elk sign around, and all of a sudden I start hearing talking. I'm like, I can't believe somebody's even in here. Like, this is a bad spot. So I'm sitting there listening. I hear it again. I'm like, that's got to be people. Sure enough, here comes this guy and this guy from Louisiana, and we get to talking. And super nice guy. He's, I mean, never a cross word or nothing. He's just like, you're the first person I've seen here in 3 years. He said, I guide here every year.
Yeah.
He said,
From day one to the end of season,
Yeah.
he is there.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
not
the
just
sign.
1 week, out of the year. He's,
It's a human.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Who's
he's
crazy enough to be in here this far?
yeah.
That's where the Arkansas boys started.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he asked us where we were from, and he had talked to our pack out guy the night before. He said, "Are y'all the Arkansas boys?" We're like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, hope y'all are doing some good." He said, "We were chasing some bulls on this point, and apparently they had went through the point that Ryan's bull was living on that same day.
Yep.
And couldn't get him killed."
Well, that was the cow calling I was telling you earlier
Yeah.
that I was hearing.
Yeah.
It was him. He was watching us.
Yeah.
And there was one point in that stalk on the
Yep.
first bull, he's cow called a whole bunch. He was trying to let us know there was a 6-point, 300-inch bull right behind
That got
us.
behind us. That was, and we never knew it. We blew him out. He, winded us because
Yeah.
he was just trying to, get our attention to, hey, turn around. There's a bull.
Yeah.
That was thinking, 40 yards
Yeah.
is what. Never heard him. Never
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
well,
crazy.
I coulda killed him.
You're gonna hear something.
he was, he was 60 foot, straight above
Sure.
us still, but close.
Yeah.
What?
So he was trying to do us a favor,
Yeah.
and he had his client set up to where, if we bumped the bull, maybe his client would kill him. It was a pretty, he made the best out of that situation, and we had no idea he was there.
Yeah.
I mean, we just thought, there's elk everywhere,
I was sitting here slinging arrows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just trying to kill. just one.
Yeah.
So that's the day the Arkansas boys were born.
Yeah.
And walked out that night. Next morning, we're kind of debating on where to go. We're kind of didn't hear a lot of bugles that day anywhere in that canyon. Just that one growler bull, and then I heard a few way down the mountain, 4 miles down the mountain. I'm like, it's too soon for that, boys. I don't know if we could get a bull out of there. I really don't think we could have got one out of there.
No, because we would have had to take it. The pack out service couldn't get in there, and he told us that.
Sure.
He's like, I can't get down in there. He said, I was like, well, at that point, we was actually gonna pack him out down the mountain to a road or a house.
There was a house down there in the flats.
Yeah,
and
we were
gonna
going to
walk
close
to the house
by
and
no
go,
means,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
knock on his
Just
door.
one down and set it up.
Yeah. Can we leave our meat here?
Yeah. I really don't think that was. I mean, we was gonna go after a bull that morning that really wasn't as, more easy than what that bull would have been. We were going after the parking lot bull.
Yeah, the parking lot bull.
Yeah.
So the night we got there, we heard this bull. We camped at the parking lot, and we heard this bull right above camp bugle all night long, all day long. If you bugled at him, he bugled. If
Honk
you
the horn.
You honked the horn. He's like a turkey.
Yeah,
I mean,
just
That's what I was going to say. Something like a
screaming.
just like a turkey.
And nobody would go home because it was literally, I think, the steepest little. No, it wasn't little, but it was nasty.
Yeah, it didn't look that far, but it felt that far.
Yeah.
So we wake up, 3:45, 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're fixing to make a 3-mile hike back down to the parking lot. We're like, we're gonna go kill this dude. I love killing turkeys by the road where everybody gets to hunt them. You know, I'm like, this is my bull. It's my turn. And we're gonna kill this joker. So we're walking down. We get about halfway down the mountain, and we cross this walla. Same walla that all the bulls were around the 2 days before season. And I was like, guys, that look like it's been used tonight, tonight. And Tyler's like, yeah. I'm like, thinking. I'm like,
I think we walked up a little bit.
We did.
past
We
that,
kept
and
walking.
I guess was pawing or not.
Yeah,
he
I was-
turned around and.
yeah, I was just, the hunter was coming out in me. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I think we need a bugle. It's kind of like finding fresh turkey scratching.
Yeah.
I want to make a call.
Location bugle.
Yeah, so I made a little locator bugle, and 3 bulls sound off. Mind you, this is where all the people have been hunting is in this canyon. They've been blowing this canyon up every day.
There was no bugles that night there.
No.
Yeah.
Since they went in there the first day, we hadn't heard a single bugle
Yeah.
until then.
Yeah.
Everybody's
So-
educated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's 45 minutes before daylight, and I bugle this one particular, the closest bull to us, just, I mean, comes on a string,
Oh, it was
and I'm like, dang it,
way too fast.
way too fast,
still
way
dark.
too early. I mean, he just committed,
Yeah.
walked like a mile and a half right to us,
Yeah.
and we're like, dang, blow that bull out. And in the process, we had fired up a second bull, or one of the other bulls got fired up. So it's breaking day at this point. The wind's good, thermals are still dropping. We're in the bottom, so most of these hunters are hunting around the top edges of these canyons because it's easier walking. They're not staying in the bottoms and approaching the bulls from the bottom. So we kind of figured that out on the fly. It's like these bulls are responding to us being down low like a normal elk would be.
Yeah.
Because all they're hearing is all these cow calls and bugles up top. So they're wise. So we're working this bull, and I got Tyler and Ryan. They're staying about 100 yards away, just kind of keeping an eye on me as I'm slipping in. They're just keeping this bull bugling.
Got my binos.
Yeah.
Just looking through the binos.
Yeah, we're
Is he moving? Is he moving?
We're hand signaling the whole time, and finally close the distance on this bull. He finally breaks, and he's coming out to this opening, and I draw 62 yards, no big deal. Been shooting at 100 all summer, ready to go, shoot, hit a limb. I'm like, oh my god.
Nice up between you
Oh,
and that
man.
distance.
Yeah, well, it's crazy. The dead limbs in the trees look like the dead limbs on the ground, so you can't even see them.
Sure.
And with the arch of the arrow, the limb was above the elk, so I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
So shoot that one off into who knows where, and then he never moves. Tyler starts calling again, and he just looked back down at Tyler, and I'm like, okay, so I make a little adjustment. I'm like, it won't take much, and I won't hit a limb. Hit a different limb next shot.
It actually hit the bull. Like the arrow just
I guess
hit it and bounced off. I don't know if I think he hit the limb before it and it kicked
kinda
his arrow sideways.
Energy out of it.
It literally just hit him and fell off. Like
Yeah.
his arrow was laying just flat on the ground.
yeah, right there.
It was
So,
weird.
Yeah. So we get up there and we're all like, what happened? You know, tell the story because they just kind of seen me shooting. They really didn't know what all had happened. And I'm kind of down in the dumps like, man.
At this time, me and Ryan's like, dude, there's a bull right behind us. Like, he's getting close. Like, I was getting kind of worried.
Yeah, the third bull.
The third bull.
Yeah.
And we was firing him up while we were trying to kill that one. So I was like, Ryan, we need to move because we're in the wide open, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, they're tucked down behind just like a log out in the middle of nothing.
yeah, and he barks.
Yeah.
He barks at us.
He
I
barks.
think he heard us from just talking.
Yeah, we were talking and he barks and I'm like, that was an elk. And we thought it was
The original, second one.
the second bull.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, so I cow call and he bugles. So I'm like, boys, work back in it. Like, there's no, this third bull's gonna work.
You still got arrows left.
We're
two.
two left.
So one's gone, one's broke.
Yeah.
And
He left the bugle tube. We had to go find him.
yeah, I left my bugle tube where I shot the
Yeah.
second one.
Yeah.
So this gets kind of funny. So I was the caller on all this. I was the one bugling. The boys were cow calling.
Mm-hmm.
I'd been bugling all summer, got really proficient at it, and so I wasn't letting the boys bugle. I didn't really trust them enough to let them blow a bugle tube at a bull. And so I left my bugle tube back. You know, it's 100 yards down the mountain, and I tell Tyler, I need you to go find my bugle tube. So Ryan's down there. Ryan finds it, and I'm slipping into this bull. Tyler's cow calling on occasion. I'm just kind of treating him like an Arkansas turkey, just easing in there. I'm not making no sounds. I'm just letting Tyler do his thing. Just trying to slip in there on this bull because he knows kind of something's up, but he wants to know there's an oak there. And I turn back to Tyler and I'm like, hey, I just like hand signaling to him, did you find the bugle tube type deal?
I thought he was like bugle now, like bugle. And I look at Ryan and I'm like, I will never forget. I was like, I was like, Ryan, bugle. And he's like,
I was like, he wants you to bugle.
I was like, he wants you to bugle. And he's like, turns around and
Lets one scream and my heart just drops. I'm like, oh no.
and he cut him off. The first one, I mean, just boom, right at. He cut him off. I'm like, well,
I'm like, this might work, you know? Like, praise the Lord. So, keep working on this bull, and Ryan's got him fired up. And Ryan bless his heart, he starts chuckling. You ever heard a bull chuckle where they'll
No,
bugle?
not at all.
You never have? I mean,
No.
even in like videos or
No,
anything?
uh-uh.
So they'll kind of like, it's going to sound weird, but just like they'll bugle and they'll go,
Oh yeah.
that's a chuckle.
Okay.
So,
I thought you were telling me they were gonna laugh at
yeah.
alcohol or something.
No, my cowbell sounded pretty good.
Yeah, they
I
did.
thought anyway.
Yeah, they did good. Well, Ryan, he decides he's going to throw in a little more pizzazz. He throws in a
He's got
chuckle.
confidence.
He's
Yeah.
getting confident.
Yeah, he's getting pretty cocky down there. Firing this bull. He's having a good time.
Oh yeah.
So he throws in a chuckle, and I mean,
Oh,
I'm
it
like,
was-
oh no.
It was.
It wasn't bad.
Well, the tube it hung up, and
Yeah.
it was, and when you hang, call up, you just got to keep going. Like you can't just
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah,
and he
it's,
did.
it's like yelping at a turkey. If you break up, you just gotta.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Same thing with turkey call.
So I text him because I know they can't read my lips or nothing. I'm like, bugle, do not chuckle.
Ever do that?
Yeah.
Well, we were like, we wanted to call a bull in for Trevor because turkey hunting in the past 2 years, Trevor is a phenomenal caller. Like it's like he talks to him.
Yeah.
With anything, turkey calling, elk,
Sure.
beagle, and cow
Yeah.
calling. Like dude, he's awesome calling.
Yeah.
So he's always done it well. He's always called everything in for us. So we're like, by George, we're gonna have an arm up on you, bud, because we're calling in your bull. Like that was our
with a chuckle, son.
yeah.
As Bradley Proctor would say, a back chuckle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our goal. So
Yeah.
that was pretty awesome.
Yeah. So, anyway, slip in on the bull, get within 40, and he's starting to come into my opening. I draw cow call, and he doesn't stop. And that was it. That's the only thing I had for about another 20 yards, and he was going to be in the wide open. Well, I make a shift, and mind you, I'm on the steepest daggum ridge we had been on in a shooting position the whole trip.
Yeah.
And when I shift, the rock starts sliding, and he hears me.
We had one knee on the ground and one leg straight out. If that tells you how
Oh, gotcha.
steep he
Yeah.
was.
That's
kind
kind
of
of what I was picturing in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's steep. Anyway, bull hears me, and he stops, and I'm at full draw. And I'm like, dang it. So he wants to see where that noise came from. So he turns back around, and when he turns around, he looks. I had to shift back because I had to get back to where I could see through that hole. And he looks down in that hole, and all I can see is his neck, like his throat patch. It'll be like the white part of a whitetail.
Yeah.
Just that throat patch. And I'm like, it's now or never.
Good enough.
And I just send it, and it, just drills him right in the trachea. I'm like, yes. He kind of, when he took the arrow, and I'm like, that sounded good.
Yeah.
All blood, what, 200 yards, 300 yards? About an hour's worth of tracking. We were just taking our time once again. Didn't want to bump him or nothing. We knew he was probably dead. Get up to him, sucker's still alive. Once again, like 6 whitetails is the amount of blood we found. There's just blood everywhere.
Wow.
And 2 hours later, and this bull is still alive. So sneak up on him again, get another arrow in him, and
Your last arrow.
my last arrow.
Last
Yeah.
arrow. I'm like, he's like, I gotta make it count.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is the last one I
I
have,
don't
boys.
want to just send it through the brush and hope for the best,
Yeah.
So we get the bull packed out. We get camp packed out. We get back down the mountain and we set up camp again. And we're sitting there. We got all 3 of our skulls and our horns set up. And I think Ryan had went to town. No, he was back by now.
Mhm.
Yeah, we were all there. And this fella shows up, and it's a guy in his, mid-50s?
Yeah.
Yeah, and his boy's about our age, maybe probably closer to your age, like low,
Mid-20s.
early 20s.
Yeah.
And we get to talking about these bulls, and we started talking about the water on the mountain. How the Lord provided, He met every need we had.
Right.
And the dad, he's getting like teary-eyed. He's just melting. You could tell the Lord had been working on him for a long time.
Yeah, he got chills as, we wasn't even done talking about it, and he was just overly shaking.
Yeah.
I
And
mean, it was...
yeah. And we get done telling him the story, and dude, he just comes over and he gives me the biggest hug. I'm like, just a heart, you could just tell like he needed it bad.
Yeah.
And you have to bear with me a little bit.
No, it's good. Perfect. Love it.
I'm glad you're telling it, because
Yeah.
I'd be the same way you are if I was talking.
This means a lot to me.
Yeah.
anyway.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's I got that way the other day when the boy was on here, and I was like, I asked Cody, did you notice? Like, yeah, I noticed.
Yeah.
I was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what's wrong with it?
It's all good.
Keep it deep. Keep it in there.
Yeah.
Yep, it's all good.
So we get to visit with him a little bit, and some more people had showed up, and these guys, they immediately were like, "Are y'all the Arkansas boys?" and kind of rooted Ruben and his son out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we already got to talk to Ruben and his son for quite a while, and I guess they were just kind of letting everybody. They were being, respectful.
Sure.
And they kind of just sneak off. They said bye and left, and we kept telling our story to these other gentlemen there. That's where the Arkansas boys were really kind of born. I guess the word had spread on the mountain.
Yeah, they were literally showing up in camp. We met with quite a few people and got asked if we wanted a guide.
Yeah.
That gentleman stopped and he's like, "Y'all with so and so?" It was a guide service there, and we're like, "No, we're just boys from Arkansas." He's like, "Y'all boys want a guide?" He goes, "Well."
I was like, I got about 6 hours before we leave here, so.
Yeah, but
What's
it
the pay like?
Yeah,
So-
and that's pretty hefty.
I'm tired.
Yeah. We thought about him, that night. We were like, we kind of wished it.
Sure.
Our conversation was like, we wish we would have been able to,
Yeah.
kind of have a little bit more longer conversation with Ruben, after that time
Yeah.
of, talking about our testimony,
Oh,
just being on
definitely,
the mountain.
You could tell you missed something there. Yeah.
Oh,
We did.
absolutely. We didn't know. I wouldn't necessarily miss an opportunity that night. We kind of got, like I said, he kind of got rooted out.
Yeah.
Just him being a gentleman.
Mhm.
But yeah, we felt like there was a lot more on the table that
Sure.
we could have visited about. So next morning we're getting packed up. Ryan goes and gets a U-Haul trailer because there's no way we're getting all the meat back home.
Yeah.
We took 270 quart coolers up there, filled them up almost with Ryan's bull. Had to buy 3 more coolers.
Yeah.
It's a good problem to have, I guess.
Oh, it was like, Ryan, we ain't got no room, bud, and we ain't even got mine in the ice chest all the way. Like, we gotta go get some ice and more ice chests now.
So Ryan got all that taken care of. He gets back, and about that time, here comes Ruben. He let his boy go hunting by himself that morning.
Yep.
And he said, he rolls in. I'm like, "Morning." He said, "Morning." He said, "I gotta help you boys get home." We're like,
Huh?
We're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Why, you ain't got to do that. You should be out, hanging out with your
Sure,
boy, doing
yeah.
your thing. And he goes, "No." He said, "I got to be here this morning." He said, y'all got families. Y'all been hard at work. Y'all got to get back home. Y'all got a long drive." We're like, "Okay, well, this is kind of what we got going on. So if you want to, jump in, do whatever you feel like you need to do. I'm not going to stop you." So we get to visiting and get to talking about, the water on the mountain story again, and kind of rekindled that conversation. I asked him, I said, do you believe in God? He goes, "I know there's a God." He said, I said, "Well, would you put your faith and trust in him right here on this mountain this morning?" And he said, "Absolutely, I would." And
Wow.
he came to know Christ. I know, dude. He came to know Christ that morning, and we're going to be lifelong buddies.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Well, so I got that phone call. I think y'all had just left camp, right?
Oh, yeah,
When
yeah.
you called me,
Yeah.
right? And it's like you're talking, he's talking, and I'm just like I'm outside, just hanging out outside,
Yep.
doing nothing. It's like I'm getting choked up, listening to the story and everything else, and like that's when this whole deal came about. I was like, y'all gotta come on the podcast
Yeah.
and tell that story. Like,
Yeah.
we gotta make this happen.
Yeah, and it was kind of crazy because he was like, if there's any reason that I came, on this trip, no matter if we
Yeah.
kill anything, this is what Ruben, the father, was saying.
Sure. Yeah.
He says, "Y'all boys, like, this is the reason why." And,
Yeah,
and it's
sure.
like,
No question. Yeah.
even like us, like, that right there, that was the reason why
We went
were
to
in
New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Yeah.
That was the reason why there was 3 guys
100%.
that killed 3 bulls in 3 days and came off of a mountain
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
save that man.
We're supplied water, so you had that story
Yes.
to tell, which
Like,
broke the ice and got everything going.
1 million
So it's like-
things.
It's not about what we did, it's about all what God did.
Sure.
Yeah.
He laid it all out,
Yeah,
and
no
just all we had to do was just
Well, it's
walk.
kind of like your
into-
beginning prayer, right? Hey, we're gonna
Yep.
walk where you tell us to walk, and look where you ended up. Like,
Yeah.
geez, that's crazy.
Well, that's a divine appointment. That's what
Absolutely.
That's the way I see
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
And see, you think about it, he's like, man, God blessed us and gave us this hunt, and we had success. You changed a man's life.
No,
Yeah, forever. Yeah.
Think about that.
that was
Yeah.
the reason why we went.
That's awesome.
At that
How many
moment,
lives is he going to change with that story?
oh,
I
it
mean,
was.
God will bless us that way, guys.
Yeah.
He'll give us what we want, what we desire when we do His will.
Sure.
You did His will.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the guy came back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He
I
was
did.
that impacted by
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah, and that,
You know, that's
It's
awesome.
like what me and
Yeah.
Tyler were talking about when he was telling me a story at the shop that day. And I was like, what are the odds? You know, if you go to any deer camp around, they're not trying to get saved. They just want to kill stuff and
Yeah.
hang out.
Exactly.
And like,
Oh, yeah.
So the chances of that guy being receptive to that whole conversation. is-
Divine appointment, I'm telling you.
Exactly. Yeah.
No,
Heck yeah.
the Lord had prepared his
Sure.
heart
Yeah.
for years.
Yeah.
He was molding that man to get him
Yeah.
ready for that
And
situation.
the Arkansas boys showed up.
Yeah.
and he was 18 years sober, or was it 18?
I can't remember. I don't want to lie, but it was a long time sober.
Yeah, 18 years sober from heavy drugs,
Wow.
and
That's an awesome story.
it was
Oh, dude.
man.
You're
I
talking,
cried.
you're talking about topping off a trip.
Oh,
Yes.
dude,
Oh,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
dude, we felt so humbled whenever that morning ended. Dude, you talk about being emotionally drained after that, dude.
Oh yeah.
I can imagine.
On top of the
That would
last
mean nothing at all.
oh, dude, it was like,
Oh no, it's
yeah, the elk
Yeah.
were like way down
yeah.
here.
Even
Yeah.
the caliber of bulls that we killed, like we was
Yeah.
not expecting to kill anything.
Sure, yeah.
Ryan's was it
Yeah.
was just a remarkable animal. But even mine and Trevor's, they were good bulls. But that was
Yeah, I mean, trophies are trophies.
That trumped
right? But
everything.
That,
and it was
That's
when I met with you at the shop, it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I told you, a little bit about the story and you knew a
Yeah.
little bit, but I was like, that's what I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and
But
when
you-
I came home,
Oh,
that
yeah.
was, I cried more.
Oh, that was kind of the leading deal. Even when I had y'all on speakerphone on your drive
Yeah.
home
Yeah.
that day, it was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did what?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. But you gotta tell the whole story in context.
Sure. Yeah.
To see how God worked through the
Yeah.
whole trip,
absolutely.
Yeah.
and then how He showed out for this man.
Well, it was just everything that was, in wrong for us, like just keeping our faith strong and just like no
Yeah.
matter what, like we were gonna do
Yeah.
whatever it took. Like,
I think about it. It
and-
started with an email in the truck, like,
Yeah.
dude, we drew. And then
Yeah.
now here you are at the end of the story, like, whoa, my
And
gosh.
all of
Look at all that happened.
everything that we battled like before to just even get there.
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
I mean, I was working 60, 70 hour,
Yeah.
weeks just in training and
Yeah.
kids.
And Ruben's son, it was his first time putting in for New Mexico elk,
Oh, wow.
and he's a resident, which is still not an easy tag to draw.
Sure. Yeah.
And he drew like
Yeah.
you're talking about divine appointments.
The dominoes had
Yeah.
to line up to
Dude.
make all this happen, which, I mean, it's not surprising, right?
No,
'Cause-
the
Yeah.
God we serve, or
Yeah,
the kids.
exactly.
That's how
Oh,
God
yeah.
works, man.
Yeah.
Guarantee you.
Yeah.
Guarantee you.
he got to FaceTime us when he was cutting our bulls up.
Yeah, we
Really?
were back home
Yep.
cutting up our bulls, getting them packaged up, and Ruben calls, and I'm like, no way,
That's
dude, his
Yeah.
boy kills a bull.
Really?
His
Really?
first
That was
bull.
gonna be my next question.
Yeah.
Like, did you
Yep.
ever hear back from him if he killed or not? So,
Yeah.
So we got to celebrate with him and Ruben, and
That's awesome.
how the Lord worked in that situation. Ruben said, dude, I've just been praying
Yeah.
Yeah.
and praying, and
Yeah.
he said the Lord came through. I'm like, I know he does that.
Yeah.
That's like what he does.
Times
Yeah.
4.
The
Yeah.
other problem I see with this whole thing is, are you ever going to be able to top that?
No.
No.
Well, I mean,
Hey,
Is that the pinnacle?
I mean, that'd be awesome if you
we,
did.
we
But
can maybe like bring 2 guys to Christ next
Yeah,
year.
there you go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome, guys. That's a great story right there.
Man, it was like Ryan's bull. It's like just to kill that bull. Like
Yeah, that would have been a
me and
great
Trevor
trip.
did not need to kill the bull.
Sure.
It didn't matter.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like that made
Yeah,
it.
that'd have been a great trip just on
sure.
itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Chris is like, dude, we got to get him on. This story sounds amazing.
Yeah.
We got to get him on. I was like,
Yeah.
awesome. Let's do it.
Dude, we wanna blow it up. We wanna share that testimony as far
Yeah,
as we
for
can
sure.
take it.
Yeah.
Heck
I'll
yeah.
be on 1,000 podcasts and tell a story 1,000 times.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
definitely, yeah.
Heck yeah, amazing story,
Well,
man.
it's cool to listen to y'all tell it too, and I've got snippets of it several times from Tyler and however you talk about it and all that stuff. But to sit down and hear the whole thing laid out, I'm sure there's a lot more to it even
Oh,
than that.
yeah.
But
Yeah. We're trying to keep it,
Well, it's probably long right now.
Yeah.
We were trying to keep it as short as possible.
Sure.
It's just-
Yeah.
but it's a long story.
Yeah.
Sure.
no, well, it is, yeah, but it's
Almost
like you
2
said,
hours.
Yeah.
one that's
It's all good.
is needed to be told. Like I said, we were just
Oh,
trying
wow.
to get this thing all set up to get you guys on here so we could have 4 people and
Yeah, that's what we were telling Ryan. We're like, because he was kind of like, I talked to him a little bit about the podcast, and
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I just don't know if they have the room. I don't know if they have the mics,
Yeah.
stuff to that nature. And he's like, dude, I don't care. He said, you got to tell the story.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
got to be
So,
told.
I mean, he's like a little bummed out, but he's like, you got to get it out there.
Yeah.
He said, it don't matter.
yeah,
I'm like, okay.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
So,
That's all we needed to know.
Yeah.
So,
See, this is a divine appointment too. That's
Absolutely.
what you gotta realize.
Absolutely.
That works.
Yeah, exactly.
See,
Yeah,
I
that
didn't even
works.
know y'all had a podcast till we're on the way home.
Yeah.
yeah, I was telling Trevor, I'm like, oh, dude, I was like, Chris, you know, they started a podcast, and that's when Chris was like, y'all have got to come
Yeah,
on.
we
Like,
got it.
you
Yes.
got
Yeah.
to tell. Like, it wasn't even a question for him,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, and that's kind of like we talked about before. It's like, you know, Luke came in, surprised us, and he called me like he was from California, and then he's wanting to get on the podcast at Christmas time.
Yep.
Yeah.
He rolls up and surprised us like, can we do a podcast? And so we were kind
Chris
of
calls me like,
him
hey, man,
on around, like, man, we need to do this, need to do that. And next thing you know, it's like we're up here moving furniture, getting this room set up,
Yep.
and then before y'all came on, we built the table, did all the walls and all that stuff. So kind of helped us get into gear too.
Yeah.
When we had some people on, you know, and to get, you know, help us get motivated. Like, let's get this thing.
Yeah, we
back.
started this a year ago,
Yeah.
and then we were rocking and rolling, and then
Yeah.
deer season came.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like,
kind of fizzled out.
yeah, I was like, man.
And we had plenty of stuff to talk about too. We just-
Yeah, there's been 30 times we told each other, hey man, we need to pod again. We need to pod again.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a great time. I love it.
yeah, no, we
Yeah.
we enjoyed
Talk,
it.
talking hunting is so easy and natural.
Well, we could have shot one before y'all got here. We were testing out y'all's mics and sat there and had an hour conversation about nothing. That would probably been a great episode. Like,
Yeah.
that's what got this all started. We were actually sitting at my house after I killed my
Yep.
big deer sitting by the fire pit, and it's like talking about all this stuff and about land management, all that stuff. It's like, dude, we should record this.
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, well, let's do it. And that's all. That's how it got
That's how we dove into it. Yeah.
Yeah. You just gotta be able to invest in it and
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
it set up.
we can
Yeah.
talk. That's no problem.
Oh, yeah.
the
Well,
talking's the easy part.
I've enjoyed listening to him.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
It's just, it's freaking awesome. To do.
Yeah, it's
Something you
fun,
love.
man. Yeah, it's fun to sit there and talk to,
Mhm.
you know, especially when you got 4 dudes in here, you can bounce stuff off each other and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
I'd probably be here 8 hours and could still
Oh,
talk.
we could-
I mean,
we
don't
could-
get us started on whitetails, please.
Yeah. I was about to say,
Well,
you can
yeah,
shut this episode
Whenever you
down.
kill, we'll have you back on.
Yeah, I was gonna say we gotta
Yeah.
have you back in here, definitely.
Yeah.
See how many more people you lead to Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I think that's only my second one to ever be a part of, but I mean, one is
And that's what I
Dude,
was.
it's,
That's
I'm
what.
telling you, I've done it once.
Yep.
And it was my boy, and it's like he'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. Like, it's
Well, it was just even like where it happened at. That's
Yeah.
what was
Now,
so
see-
crazy.
Well, see what you don't realize too is this will be out there.
yeah,
oh
And
yeah,
this story right here can change somebody's life.
Oh,
yeah.
That's how God works,
yeah.
oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
yeah. So we just spread it out a little bit.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
think he never hears you or you're too
Yeah.
little for him, dude? He is so big.
Yeah.
He don't care.
Yeah.
He loves you.
And it's like you said,
For
somebody meant to hear this, they're gonna hear it.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
It's gonna be out there, so
Yeah. And if that minister,
forever. It's
the
never
people
coming off.
listening, if that ministered to you,
Yeah,
this is a divine appointment.
yeah,
Just like we talked about.
Yeah, listen, answer the call.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Change your life, right?
Yep.
For sure.
Guys, I'm super proud of you for telling the story, for doing what you did. I mean, they say, you know, you do the easy things in life. Your life's always hard to do the hard stuff. Your life's easy, and we just heard it today. So
Yep.
super cool story.
Very commendable, guys.
Thank
Very
you.
commendable.
All right.
Thank y'all for coming in
We're
here
gonna
today.
get it
Yeah,
out
we-
there, and yeah,
Hey, we can talk podcast stuff all day. So
Yeah.
you just we can go whitetails, turkeys,
Yeah.
fishing,
Yeah.
noodling,
You got it. You got it.
whatever.
We appreciate y'all.
Thank you for having us.
getting
no,
us on
super
here.
cool, man.
Yeah.
And then,
Very good.
You got a beautiful place here, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
God's blessed me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots.
I'll admit that right now.
yeah, 100%.
Big
100%.
bucks. Big bucks.
Yeah, big bucks.
That's all on my
Big
mind.
bucks and woods. What else you need, right?
That's
That's right. That's happiness in one place right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, guys, thanks for coming on. We
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks
it.
for coming
Yeah.
on.
Thank you.
Bye, Ray.